Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Sit on your ass and watch me be great.
WrestleMania from Las Vegas. At WrestleMania, from the entertainment capital of the world, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. Bring the fight to Vegas in an epic triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. WrestleMania from Las Vegas.
It don't matter what they say, I'm timeless.
When you have people as good as Cody, as good as Cena, how does it ever get any bigger than that?
From the entertainment capital of the world, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Sit on your ass and watch me be great.
WrestleMania from Las Vegas. At WrestleMania, from the entertainment capital of the world, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. Bring the fight to Vegas in an epic triple threat match.
Then, now, forever. Together.
This is the desert playground known as Las Vegas, Nevada. You are looking at the world-famous Strip, and we're on the Strip at Allegiant Stadium, home of the NFL's Raiders and home tonight to WrestleMania Sunday. Before we talk about WrestleMania Sunday, let's take you back to last night and a spectacular, sold-out WrestleMania Saturday night. You are looking live at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Welcome to WrestleMania.
The charisma at stake when you in your prime. That paper, baby, my face on the dotted line. Ain't it neat? Ain't it? Ain't it? Ain't it?
All 61,467 of you.
This guest here tonight, Makingo. Roddy Americano runs into a big kick. And there is that metal plate. Americano wins his WrestleMania debut. again, everybody, and welcome to the WrestleMania Sunday Countdown Show. We are live outside Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Countdown to WrestleMania is presented by Cricket. And the stars are out for WrestleMania Sunday, including the undisputed WWE Champion. Cody Rhodes is here. He hopes to retain his title and stop John Cena from making history, winning a 17th World Championship. It's John Cena's final WrestleMania tonight. She's been an afterthought. She hopes to end that speculation tonight. She's the world champion, Io Sky, defending her title in a triple threat match against the woman who won the Elimination Chamber. The EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, is here at WrestleMania. And so is the Eradicator, Rhea Bloody Ripley. She wants her World Championship back as we whet your appetite over the next 3 hours for WrestleMania Sunday. Hello again, everybody. Hundreds have joined us outside Allegiant Stadium tonight for the Countdown Show. I'm Michael Cole, and I am joined by an all-star panel here tonight, including former world champion, former Mr. Money in the Bank, Big E.
Bless you, bless you. Look, I didn't get the memo on the men in black cosplay, but it's good to be here.
Cosplay? No. We're trying to be professional out here. And as Michael Cole loses everything here to start WrestleMania Sunday, allow me to introduce a man who called WrestleMania for the first time ever last night and absolutely crushed it. I'm afraid I have no bad news for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Wade Barrett is here.
Well, I couldn't have been alongside two better human beings for my first experience at the desk of WrestleMania. What a night it was, WrestleMania Saturday. But Big E, it was a mistake wearing black. The temperature is rising. I'm already sweating, and we have got a red-hot day of action ahead of us.
Hey, let's talk about what happened yesterday. And I want to start with Pat McAfee, of course, ESPN show. A lot to talk about for a show on Monday. But let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship matchup between Gunther and Jey Uso. I want to take you now to the closing moments of last night. Pat, you and Wade are at ringside. Break down what we experienced in this match last night.
I think throughout the entirety of it, we were wondering, is Jey Uso going to be able to topple this untoppable human of Gunther? And everything Jey Uso did last night was prove to the world that not only can he get better, not only can he get stronger, not only can he be a great world champion, but he can beat Gunther at his own damn game. Chokes out Gunther. Gunther taps Jey Uso, and the Yeet Train are world champions, Wade.
Absolute explosion of energy. We'd seen the mental shift in Jey Uso over the previous 3 weeks. That was matched by a physical shift last night, and congrats, Jey Uso, you are champion of the world.
Yeah, celebrating with his brother Jimmy, main event Jey Uso, now the World Heavyweight Champion as he represents Monday Night Raw. Big E, I want to ask you about this because Jey Uso winning his first major singles championship, the world title, you did that a number of years ago. This has got to be a major weight off his shoulders.
Look, absolutely. This is something that a lot of people have doubted for quite some time with Jey Uso. We've talked a lot about his ascension from a tag team guy to now being a top guy here, and now he's a world champion. But look, as we all know, the load only continues to grow, but I hope he enjoys this moment. But yeah, there's a lot of big things to come for Jey Uso as World Heavyweight Champion.
Wade, as a former 5-time Intercontinental Champion, once you win the title and you're no longer the hunted, or you're no longer the hunter, you're now the hunted, that makes things a lot more difficult.
Yeah, things are going to change for Jey Uso now, because really the motivation to win this championship, the catalyst was the sight of his own brother caked in blood. Well, what are you going to find as your next catalyst? Because trust me, the battle you had last night is going to be every single defense now, and you can't keep going back to that Jimmy Uso caked in blood. You need something else. This is where Jey Uso needs to raise his game further.
So, Pat, what does Jey Uso now have to do as he goes into Monday Night Raw tomorrow? First time as champion. A lot of people going to be gunning for him. What does Jey's mindset have to be?
Jey needs to just utilize everything that he's learned throughout his entire wrestling career, whether it was as a tag team GOAT alongside his brother Jimmy, or whenever he was the right-hand man in the bloodline. He's had an opportunity to pick the brains of the greats around him. He wants to build his own legacy. He doesn't just want to make up for Jimmy being bathed in his blood. He's a world champion. The era has begun. It's 4 letters, 1 word, E-E. And I think that's just what he needs to ride. He knows what he wants to be, and that's a great in this business, and he has the opportunity now to go prove all of that.
I want to switch gears a little bit and get into the main event from last night. That, of course, the triple threat match between 3 of the biggest stars on the planet, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and, of course, CM Punk, Paul Heyman coming out in Punk's corner. Let's show you what happened toward the end of the matchup. This was decision time for Wade. Where would Heyman go? And he slides the steel chair to his friend CM Punk. Roman Reigns in disbelief.
Yeah, that should have been no surprise whatsoever. However, that low blow from Heyman against what is potentially his longest friend in this industry was a shocker. Heyman reverting to type, going back to the tribal chief. This was the fix until it wasn't. The fix changed places, and suddenly the architect, Seth freaking Rollins, had done a deal with the devil, opening a pathway to shock the world and win in the main event of WrestleMania Saturday. A lot of questions coming out of this one.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions, and it was interesting to me as we were walking up the ramp back to the locker room area after the match. We were only a few feet away from Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, and I simply made the motion of, why did you do this? And Seth looked at me and he said, you should have seen it. It was right here in front of you. And I guess in retrospect, we probably should have thought something like this was coming down the line.
You would think the visionary and the architect teaming up with the wise man could be possible in any world. But last night, as soon as he slides that chair to CM Punk, I think to myself, well, that's the favor. Then whenever he low blows his best friend CM Punk, you think to yourself, wow, Paul Heyman has remembered that his tribal chief is his tribal chief. And then when he turns his back on my tribal chief, when he turns his back on Roman Reigns, whenever he gets up in there and rattles it around to make sure that it really hammers home the point, my heart was broken. And I guess we should have seen it coming, because this is a wise man move. This is also a Seth Rollins move, and they stand tall at the end of the night. I have no idea how or why this came to be, but I'll tell you what, it works no matter how you look at it.
Biggie, I said this last night on commentary. Heyman is a leech. Seriously, but Paul Heyman is going to go to the person that's going to give him money, the person that is the next step in his career growth. He is going to ride the gravy train, and I guess he figured he had burned bridges with Punk and Roman. Let's go to Seth now.
No, that's exactly who Paul Heyman is. Look, I'm really intrigued to see where things go with this pairing with Seth Rollins and with Paul. I think it's a great opportunity for Seth to continue to further his career. It's been a while since we've seen Seth hold a world title, and I don't think he's done giving up on those aspirations, and I think Paul Heyman is the kind of manager who can take him back to being at the very top of this company.
So hopefully some of these answers will be answered, or some of these questions will be answered tomorrow night. It's been a long weekend already. On Monday Night Raw.
Great weekend already.
But before we get to Raw tomorrow night, the Pat McAfee Show will be live at WWE World, 9 a.m. here in Vegas, 12 noon on the East Coast on ESPN. And I understand a certain wise man, Paul Heyman's going to be part of that show. We might get some questions answered.
That's right. Paul Heyman will be joining the Pat McAfee Show tomorrow, as will John Cena.
Potentially WWE Champion John Cena, pending what happens tonight in our main event.
Yeah, win or lose, John Cena will be on the Pat McAfee Show tomorrow. Well, that was WrestleMania Saturday. Let's turn our attention to tonight, WrestleMania Sunday, and show you what we have on tap, including Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against John Cena. Cena going for a record 17th world title, and what is his final WrestleMania? A fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. The unpredictable badass Braun Breaker defends against Penta and 2 members of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. This one is going to be a war. So much personal animosity. It is a Sin City street fight. There are no rules. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre tonight. Randy Orton We celebrate 20 years at WrestleMania for Randy Orton. Kevin Owens, of course, can't participate due to the neck injury and the need for surgery. Who will take on Randy Orton? Who will step up to the challenge here tonight? AJ Styles and Logan Paul hope to put to bed a fierce rivalry. These two go one-on-one tonight at WrestleMania Sunday. The women's tag team titles, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez defend against Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria, but who will her partner be? Bayley was taken out yesterday. Lyra had 24 hours to try to find someone to team up with her tonight. And to kick off WrestleMania Sunday, it is the Women's World Championship. Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match. Well, we have reporters all around Las Vegas. Let's start things off with Kathy Kelly.
Thank you so much, Michael Cole. You know, I saw Rhea Ripley earlier today. Not to brag, but she has been a different Rhea than I've grown close to. She is more focused than ever on getting back that Women's World Championship from Io Sky, of course, also facing Bianca Belair today in that triple threat match. Now, I sat down with Rhea earlier this week, and she detailed her plans for how she plans on getting that title back to her. But more on Io Sky from Byron Saxton.
We've all heard the talk about Io Sky's placement in tonight's triple threat match against Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Is Io a third wheel? Is she being underestimated? Well, I had a very interesting conversation with Io earlier on this morning, and she talked about that narrative. How much that narrative of being an afterthought has bothered her. Well, bothered her up until a couple days ago. See, a couple days ago, Io Sky had the chance to take a ride in the sky via the Goodyear blimp. She had a beautiful ride, viewing the beautiful city of Las Vegas, and it was during that ride that she was hit with a flood of emotions. One of those emotions being a reminder of who she is. A fearless daredevil who is only limited by the confines of her own imagination. So what does that mean for tonight? Well, the outcome of tonight's match is still to be determined. However, I have it on good authority from the champ that Io Sky is going to be in prime form as she hopes to retain her Women's World Championship. Now, for more from the camp of Bianca Belair, I will send things over to Jackie Redmond.
Yes, Byron, thank you so much. As far as Bianca Belair is concerned, I talked to her about an hour ago. She told me, Jackie, I am very well aware that the reception I'm getting from WWE fans, thank you so much. This is a great reception. Feels very nice. But for Bianca Belair, she knows that the reception she's been getting in the lead up to this WrestleMania is a little different than what she's become accustomed to as the EST of WWE. But she said, quote, Jackie, it is what it is. Fans have every right to cheer or boo for whoever they want. She said it's not going to affect her. She said she's gone through enough in her career to this point that she fully understands the higher you climb, the noisier it gets. It's loud at the top, and she believes she thrives at the top. She thrives when the pressure is at its highest. She said, you know, a lot of my success has come from focusing on one thing, what I can control. And when it comes to this stage at WrestleMania, the EST of WWE has been very good at that. She comes into this triple threat match with a perfect 4-0 record at WrestleMania. It is the longest active winning streak at WrestleMania on the current roster. She said, Jackie, going into this match, I'm focused on one thing and one thing only, turning that 4 into a 5. Colt?
Thanks, Jackie. The only loss that Bianca ever suffered at WrestleMania was in a battle royal. She's been very successful when it comes to singles and tag team matchups. I want to start off talking about Io Sky, Big E, because she's really become an afterthought in this over the past couple of weeks. I believe she has something major to prove tonight.
Look, she's far too talented to be an afterthought. I thought even in the match that she had with Rhea Ripley when Rhea was world champion, a lot of people were already penciling in Rhea versus Bianca at WrestleMania, and Io Sky said, nah, I'm in this match. This is my title. And look, I think both competitors are making a mistake by overlooking the current world champion. Io has a great opportunity. Again, we talk over and over about the fact that she doesn't need to be pinned to lose her title, but I am telling you, she is an incredible performer, and she is ready, I think, to walk out here as world champion.
So, Wade, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I think Io Sky's perspective is completely off. Take your ego out of this, Io Sky. The best thing that can happen to you in a triple threat match of this nature is your two opponents hating each other, targeting each other, ignoring you, taking each other out. You have the easiest pathway to victory of them all. The ego of Io Sky is perhaps taking over, where a little clarity would do some good.
On Friday, Pat had Rhea Ripley on the Pat McAfee show, and we both commented on this afterward. Confidence.
Very composed, very confident. You know, she's coming into WrestleMania as the hunter as opposed to the hunted. And it's just like Bianca Belair. She's the EST of the WWE. Can't spell WrestleMania without EST. Very comfortable in the moment. Io Sky, you talk about her not caring about any of the noise from the outside. She's our champ. She should feel good representing that women's division at WrestleMania, but I think we got an instant classic brewing in our hands. Io Sky left Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair flat on their faces just a couple weeks ago. This one might steal the entire weekend here.
A couple of final notes on this match. It will kick off WrestleMania Sunday. Of course, that'll take place at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Peacock, and it's a triple threat match. First woman to gain pinfall or submission will win the championship. No champion's advantage for Io Sky tonight. Well, throughout the weekend, we've been reviewing some of the top moments in WrestleMania history, including this one, WrestleMania 10 at the Garden.
Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon.
The greatest ladder match ever. It was something special.
To become the undisputed Intercontinental Champion.
It stands the test of time.
We're creating magic here.
That may have been the greatest thing I've ever seen.
The ladder match at WrestleMania 10 changed professional wrestling.
Get out, look out, Shawn!
I've had a lot of matches since then, but that's the one that people talk about a lot. I feel really honored they do.
Living in that time frame. What a special, special duo those two guys.
The reason that match is lauded is not because it's the first ladder match. It's because it may be the best ladder match.
When you have people as good as Cody, as good as Cena, how does it ever get any bigger than that?
From the entertainment capital of the world. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Sit on your ass and watch me be great.
WrestleMania from Las Vegas.
Flair went for the boot. Tiffany sidestepped again. Stratton now drops Flair. On the back of her head. Could this be it to retain? Charlotte just gets the shoulder up.
This is really turning into an endurance battle by these two fine athletes. This war of attrition. And Tiffany is still living in there and dropping some heavy artillery.
Hanging in the balance, the WWE Women's Championship.
I promise you, Cole, they're not going to like each other at the end of this one. They will respect the physicality.
The trash talking, and now slaps, and now to the bad knee, and Charlotte turning the offense around on Stratton. And again, Charlotte gonna look for the figure four and the figure eight. Roll up now by Stratton. Charlotte rolls through, trying to power Stratton up here.
It's counter for counter, power for power.
Knee gave out a bit.
It's about whose frame is gonna give out first.
And Charlotte into the second turnbuckle.
Head off that turnbuckle there, Cole.
Yeah, critical move. Tiffany Stratton sends Charlotte whiplashed into the corner. Not sure if she got all of it, but may have gotten enough.
The back of the head of Charlotte Flair ricocheting against that second buckle. You're right, Cole, whiplash. That's like a car crash at 60 miles an hour. This deep into a match.
Another rolling senton by Stratton. She has Charlotte in position. This could be Tiffany Stratton's chance. Stratton, prettiest moonsault ever, connects to Charlotte Flair. Cover now, hook of the leg. What a win at WrestleMania for Tiffany Stratton. Wow.
Here is your winner, and still the WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton.
It is still Tiffy time.
What a Tiffy time it is.
Huge win. What an epic matchup from both women. Tiffany Stratton, the championship still raised aloft. But believe me, she had to win that one the hard way. That was a fight.
Wade, we learned a lot about Tiffany Stratton tonight. When it comes to toughness, when it comes to stamina, when it comes to resilience, she battled back at every turn.
Pure grit against the greatest in history. Once that connected, look at the bruise on the forehead of Stratton. How on earth the brain reset that quickly to kick out and still stay in the fight? And this is where Stratton was on the roll to victory. The world's prettiest moonsault connected. This time Charlotte could not get the knees up. Charlotte was a beaten woman. Take nothing away from the queen of the industry. Tonight was just not her night. Stratton, hats off you. Sheer brilliance.
Congratulations in what is a career-defining moment. Aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, celebrating 100 years of an American icon, the Goodyear blimp. Allegiant Stadium will be the site of WrestleMania Sunday and the final WrestleMania match in the career of John Cena. It's Cody Cena tonight.
My name is John Cena. I'm a kid who grew up in a small town in West Newbury. Ruthless aggression. The champ is here. 2025 will be my retirement from the WWE. Thank you so much for letting me play in the house that you built for so many years.
John Cena's going to WrestleMania and an opportunity to win a 17th world title.
Cody Rhodes, if you become my champion, I can open up doors and possibilities for you that you never knew existed.
I gave my soul to these people a long time ago.
Hustle, loyalty, respect.
After everything he's accomplished in his career, he's going to stoop to this.
You want some? Come get some. What is best for business is I main event WrestleMania. You can't see me. What is best for business? I never back down and I never quit. I win a 17th championship. The champ is here! For 25 years, I've been the victim of an abusive relationship. I don't need you anymore. For 25 years, you only care about yourselves. I don't care about you. At WrestleMania, I make history. I will win that championship and retire with it.
17 does not happen. But what does happen is I get the heartbreaking privilege of beating my hero in his last chance.
You with that disgusts me. All you have done here is ride the coattails of my success. You sat by my side for years and stole every secret. You are a common fan like them.
I was chosen. But you know who chose me? They chose me. John, I am standing right here. I am holding this above my head. At WrestleMania 41.
The last real champion is taking
17 does not happen.
I am going to ruin wrestling for everyone.
This stays with us.
And that is the story of John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Joe Tessitore and Sam Roberts with you as we're outside Allegiant Stadium at this magnificent plush NFL football field of the Vegas Raiders. This is where they grow and maintain it. And fittingly, we're at the goal line for what will be the NFL come this fall. And we're at the goal line of the undisputed WWE Championship here, Sam, which begs the question as to how this match will be received, and specifically the reaction to this version of John Cena. We heard what we heard when he was in Brussels, berating the fans, the reaction to him elsewhere on the European tour, and then a unique reaction at the T-Mobile Arena just down the street here in Vegas on Friday night for SmackDown. How will this edition of John Cena be received here at WrestleMania 41?
It's a great question, and it's one of the huge X factors of this match. The fact is, when John Cena comes forward and says, I'm breaking up with the fans, I want to ruin wrestling, these are all hurtful things. These are all things that we don't want to hear as fans. But the reality is that for the better part of 15-plus years, there's been a huge contingent of WWE fans that have been begging John Cena to finally be a villain. There is a bigger story to the fact that this is not only the last WrestleMania for John Cena, but it's the first WrestleMania that John Cena will be a villain. The question is, does that bigger picture eclipse what's going on immediately in the present of the fact that John Cena does not share the same love for us?
Now, as for the other side and Cody Rhodes, and let's get into the match strategy here for a moment. The major physicality in the build to this undisputed championship match has come from Cody Rhodes. Yeah. How much does Cody have to keep his emotions in check? He's been reacting and getting physical just by hearing things, being called kid, by hearing things from John Cena. How critical is it to manage emotions in this match?
Well, I think you just said it. He's been emotional, and who's got the better of John Cena physically? Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
The thing about Cody is he is very strategic when he gets in the ring. He does usually go in with a plan. But when the rules are down, when the guard is off, and Cody Rhodes is just going in, just fueling from that pure id, that pure place of emotion, he thrives. Cody went into WrestleMania 39 with a plan for Roman Reigns. He lost. Cody went into WrestleMania 40, and there maybe is no bigger explosion of pure emotion than the main event of WrestleMania 40. Cody Rhodes won. If you're asking me from the point of an onlooker, I think Cody needs to forget his manners, needs to forget his strategy, needs to forget his plan, and go in with that utter emotion that created the Cody that we know today.
By the way, speaking of emotion, I sense feelings bubbling up right here. Michael Cole, I sense sirens going off with Sam Roberts.
They're going.
Emergency podcast await. There's no, we got feelings here.
Yeah, we do.
Before we get to Cody Rhodes and John Cena. Michael Cole, back to you.
Joe, the biggest question today is how much sunblock does Roberts have on that dome out there?
Good idea. You got to stay lubed up out here.
Nonetheless, crowd is into this already as we get set for the main event tonight. I do want to say one thing, and I'll talk about this on the air tonight as well. been very vocal about what I think about John Cena over the past couple of months. Of course, my relationship with John over the years. Despite all of that, I still think John, no matter what happens tonight, is the GOAT, that he is the greatest of all time. People also know my relationship with Cody Rhodes and how I've basically been with Cody for nearly 20 years as well. I promise you guys that I'm going to call this down the middle tonight and try to be as unbiased as I can for this main event match tonight. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about John Cena, Big E. He could set the record. He could break Ric Flair and make it 17 world titles. Can he do it tonight?
Look, we call this the showcase of the immortals for a reason, and I don't think having this tie with Ric Flair sits well with John Cena. This is his very last WrestleMania and probably his last opportunity to ever win a world championship. I love Cody. I love what he stands for. I love his principles. But I think the deck is stacked against Cody. I think John Cena, unfortunately, becomes a 17-time world champion tonight.
Now, Wade, I know we've talked about this throughout the entire week. I know that you do not agree with that.
No, not at all. I mean, John Cena, the greatest of all time, as you've referred to him. I don't personally agree with that, but we're all allowed our opinions.
Certainly.
John Cena, the greatest of all time version, has not been seen in years. When was the last time Cena actually won at WrestleMania? I know for a fact he's lost his last 3, and he's been appearing sporadically. I don't think that greatest of all time version of John Cena still exists. I think John Cena is running scared and he's playing desperate right now.
Speaking of running, runner-up at Royal Rumble, won the Elimination Chamber, obviously.
He needed a massive assist from Seth freaking Rollins. It was the most desperate victory in an Elimination Chamber I have ever seen. And for John Cena, the greatest of all time, to require that to win, he's not the same guy.
Not necessarily required it, but certainly had it to win. Now he's heading in here with a massive amount of confidence. Who knows what this match looks like for Cody Rhodes against this John Cena? I mean, we saw the last time they were all in the same ring, there was obviously some tense moments. There was obviously some chaotic statements made. But John Cena is the GOAT in Michael Cole's eyes, because whenever John Cena gets in between those ropes, it's like a second instinct kicks in. It's second nature to him. He is a guy who's supposed to be in this moment for the strap. And Cody Rhodes has to battle against a idol, a mentor who has treated him despicably. I mean, I couldn't fathom anything more perfect for WrestleMania 41. And I, just like everybody else, think GOATs are GOATs for a reason. And John Cena with this new mindset is going to be tough tonight for Cody Rhodes.
And look, to your point, we've seen him get steamrolled by Undertaker. We've seen him lose to Solo Sikoa, lose to Austin Theory. But let's not forget about The Rock, the chairman of the board. To think that John Cena is going to be the only one out there tonight, we'd all be fools. There are so many different chess pieces in play, and that's why I think Cody is going to have such a difficult time winning here tonight.
Well, John Cena undoubtedly needs to stack the deck this evening, or else Cody Rhodes is going to make John Cena look mediocre.
Well, we're going to find out at our main event at WrestleMania Sunday tonight. I will say one thing about this. There is a reason that John Bradshaw Layfield coined John Cena Big Match John. Last WrestleMania, he's fighting for his career here tonight. And a reminder, Pat McAfee Show, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, ESPN tomorrow. John Cena will appear
at 9:15 a.m. local. That's an early call time in Vegas. 9:15 a.m. John Cena on the Pat McAfee Show.
More to come on the Countdown Show.
Fanatics Fest NYC is back and coming in hot.
Game time, hit the shot and look down at my wrist just like it's game time. Know I'm in the field, kicking game, I'm on the main line.
Stacked with WWE superstar appearances too legendary to miss. June 20th through the 22nd at the Javits Center. Tickets on sale now at fanaticsfest.com.
So WrestleMania 1, the ending was a bit unsatisfying. We want to see what will ultimately happen when we do get Roddy against T. And so we set on a path where that happens.
Here at WrestleMania 2, you can cut the electricity in the air where tonight,
Mr. T and Roddy Piper nose to nose in the center of the ring.
Both of those guys had that fight in them to go out there, and neither one of them was going to back down.
There was so much bad blood.
Look out, Tino in the wrong corner.
Roddy did not want to be beaten by an actor.
I can hold my own. I wasn't a Powerpuff. If you bring me somebody outside our business, I'm going to eat his lunch.
Just so many tremendous stories over 41 years of WrestleMania. It is hard to believe that Randy Orton has been involved in 20 of the 41 WrestleManias. Tonight, we celebrate 20 years of the Viper at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is that next level experience.
A sea of WWE fans looking on at Randy Orton.
One of the all-time greats in WWE, the Viper, no stranger to WrestleMania.
Let's get the small talk. You already know I got no poker face, and I don't like you. Well, lucky for me, it's just a matter of taste. What's that old saying? Let the right ones in. Mama tried to warn me about times like this. I told Sark, but I'll finish it. There's nothing between us.
that's what superstars like Randy Orton do at WrestleMania. They rise to the occasion.
The Apex Predators had many distinct WrestleMania moments over the years.
Revolution meet the Rock and Sock Connection.
Know that you like, we're out of mystery.
Evolution wins it.
It is the Legend versus the Legend Killer.
What's that old saying? Let the right ones in. Mama tried to warn me about times like this. I told Sark, but I'll finish it.
Unbelievable counter.
RKO from the top of the ladder. RKO from out of nowhere. Randy Orton is champion. That's ISO speed.
He's barking at the Viper.
Down goes speed.
This is a very important WrestleMania for me. WrestleMania 41 will be my 20th time competing at WrestleMania.
I've been dealing with a pretty serious neck injury, and now I have to go get neck surgery.
Randy, I'm afraid that means that you no longer have a match for WrestleMania.
The voices have been knocking for a few weeks now. They say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever it is, I need my match at WrestleMania. This WrestleMania means so much to me, so I tell you what, anybody in the locker room, I challenge you to step up. I will be there in the ring, Allegiant Stadium. But know this, you will fall victim to the three most dangerous letters in all of sports entertainment. RKO.
And before we jump into Randy Orton, I do have a statistic to answer one of your questions, Wade. John Cena has not won a singles match in what is almost 7 years.
Wow.
Wow.
7 years.
He's due, I would say.
We'll see what happens. Let's
That's
get to
a
Randy
long
Orton
time.
now. When I think of Randy Orton at WrestleMania, I go back to the sunshine of San Francisco Bay Area, WrestleMania 15. One of the early matches when Seth Rollins took on Randy Orton. And Randy Orton delivered one of the greatest RKOs I have ever seen, with Rollins coming off the top rope. Now, Randy Orton has really turned has turned WrestleMania into like the Randy Orton highlight reel over the years.
Yeah, he has, and I mean, it's been an honor watching him over the years. Earlier in my career, I was competing against him, not at the Showcase of the Immortals, but I got to feel firsthand numerous times just how good Randy Orton is. And I stepped the deck against Randy time and time again, and it still wasn't enough. Randy Orton is just a different beast to the rest of the locker room.
So again, an interesting story. He's supposed to go one-on-one with Kevin Owens. Kevin came out a couple of weeks ago and said that he needs neck surgery. He's probably going to be out the better part of a year. Kevin is in town. We've talked to him. He's in good spirits.
Godspeed
He's upset.
to KO.
He's going to miss WrestleMania. Randy Orton said he's going to have a match tonight. The question is, who will it be against? And Wade, again, well, no way. Again, very interesting note you said today. You pity the man who gets in the ring with Randy Orton tonight.
Yeah, listen, Randy Orton has been asking now for over a week for an alternate to Kevin Owens, who unfortunately has been taken out, okay? This is the time of year that anyone who's not...
They have an idea of who it could be.
This is the time of year. Anyone who's not on the WrestleMania card will do whatever they have to do to get on. You know how many people have come forward out of the WWE locker room to say, yeah, let me take on Randy Orton? Absolutely zero. Nobody's going. Because you saw Randy Orton a couple of weeks ago, veins bulging out of his head, eyeballs popping, blood pressure through the roof. Whatever Randy was going to do to Kevin Owens, he is going to do to whoever takes this opportunity. My advice, don't do it.
Well, you might want to talk our partner out of it because they're trying to talk him to the match. Big E, not good for Pat to get in the ring with him.
Don't do it, Pat. Don't do it. Look, I talked to Sheamus. We sat down at Fanatics Live. Sheamus had that incredible triple threat in LA with Gunther, with Drew. I know Sheamus is itching for a match. Look, I look at a guy like, I can't believe Sami Zayn is not on this WrestleMania card. I think of him, and we've had some names rumored from a certain other company that might be free agents as well that could make the leap and be here. We'll see. We shall see.
The world speculates it might be Michael Cole. Michael Cole, undefeated at WrestleMania.
No way.
Whoever it is. And I would like to formally announce that I will not be wrestling Randy Orton this evening.
Wise move, Pat.
Smartest thing you've ever said, Pat.
Keep begging, it ain't happening.
Michael Cole sees a big payday and a broken neck.
Well, you know what? If you gave me $1 million, maybe I'd walk in there with Randy, right?
Well, that would be career over. That's the problem. You'd never earn another penny for the rest of your life.
I've suffered an RKO before. It is not pretty.
Yeah, I've suffered.
So again, Randy Orton will have a match at his 20th celebration of WrestleMania. Who will it be against? We'll figure it out a little bit later on. I've got another note, by the way, on John Cena as we continue to talk about the main event tonight and trying to bolster your points, Wade. John's last win at WrestleMania was actually in a mixed tag match back in 2017. John hasn't won a singles match at WrestleMania in 10 years.
So statistically speaking, John Cena at WrestleMania in the present day is absolutely rubbish. Yet somehow he's going to beat the best in the industry, Cody Rhodes, in the main event. I'm not buying it.
But once again, it is not just John Cena, and you are fools to think that it is John Cena / Travis Scott somehow and The Rock, okay? He has all three, and there might be
Are they here? I haven't seen either.
Surely they are. Surely they'll be here.
The chairman, I mean, The Rock's the chairman of the board of the entire damn place. You would assume if he wants John Cena to break Ric Flair's record, that's probably inevitable. But to your point about 10 years not being able to win, he's due, okay? He's due for a big-time dub. Now, he's taken on somebody who is flying high and operating at the highest they have ever operated. And I think what Cody Rhodes has done for the WWE has been nothing short of remarkable. What a professional, what a legend, what a stud. But tonight at WrestleMania, you're telling me he hasn't won in 10 years? I'm saying he's been waiting for the right opportunity. I fear that John Cena is about to, in his words, ruin wrestling tonight, and we got to figure out the aftermath.
That is our main event of WrestleMania Sunday. The match that's going to kick off the show, it's the triple threat match between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair for the Women's World title. Jackie mentioned it earlier. Bianca Belair is 4-0 in normal matches at WrestleMania. She only lost was in a Battle Royal. Bianca Belair, earlier this week, had the opportunity to sit down with Byron Saxton.
Bianca, thank you for sitting down with me. It's
Thank
not
you for
like you
having
have a
me.
busy weekend or anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's get right into it. WrestleMania Sunday, you have to face both the Women's World Champion, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. How do you feel about this title match becoming a triple threat?
I feel like I've had to work hard just to work even harder to get something that I have rightfully earned. I feel like I've done everything that I was supposed to do. They said win Elimination Chamber, I did that. I had two of my closest friends try to tear each other apart, and I had to watch that. And after that, I then had to go up against some of the best women that this division has to offer. At the end of the day, it is a triple threat, and I have to accept that. And I just have to be confident in myself and know that if I was able to overcome what I overcame in the Elimination Chamber, I can overcome this triple threat.
I'm really glad you brought up Elimination Chamber because stemming out of there, you said something very specific in regards to how you felt about Rhea Ripley. You said that if Rhea doesn't earn it, then she doesn't deserve it, and it being a shot at the Women's World Championship. Well, obviously, Rhea's in the match now.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way?
I do. I still feel that way. I stand by what I said. I said what I said. I have always respected Rhea. We were friends before this even happened. I've always wanted to face Rhea. I would have loved that, but at the end of the day, she lost her title to Io. That's what happened. It doesn't matter the circumstances. She was too focused on me. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. I'm not to blame for that. So it should be Io Sky and I at WrestleMania. But here we are. So I stand by that.
A couple years ago at SummerSlam, you regain the WWE Women's Championship. And before you can even celebrate, Miss Money in the Bank, Io Sky comes sprinting down the ring, cashes in her Money in the Bank contract, and mere seconds later, wins the title that you had just had in your possession.
Yeah.
Do you still feel any resentment towards Io for that?
See, the difference when it comes to me is I don't feel resentment. Io cashed in on me, she took the title, and I have no one to blame but myself for that. I should have been way more prepared. I've had people surprise me at SummerSlams before, and I should have learned my lesson. Io's a force to be reckoned with. So I know going into WrestleMania that I'm gonna have to do everything that I can to take her down. And now you have Rhea Ripley in the equation as well. I feel like I have a lot of distractions going on, and that's been my biggest challenge going into WrestleMania, of can I focus on the task that's at hand right now?
Let's switch gears. Let's talk about something a little lighter, because we've been in this serious mode for a while here. At WrestleMania, you have a reputation for coming up with some extravagant entrances, some like jaw-dropping, off-the-charts outfits. Do you have a favorite from a past WrestleMania between your entrance and your gear? And could you possibly maybe give us a hint about which you might wear on Sunday?
You're trying to go there.
I'm
Everybody's trying to get a hint.
If you want to pick it up, I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
You can't ruin the element of surprise. What I will say, my favorite WrestleMania gear in the past probably would be WrestleMania 38. That was the first time that I actually pushed myself to try something different, and I feel like ever since then I've been getting better and better. I've had so many great entrances. I mean, you had the Divas of Compton, you had the HBCU band. So at this point, I'm like, how do I top it this year? I can't tell you what my gear is for WrestleMania this year, but what I will say is that my husband, my mama, and my daddy, they all flew down.
This is a big production, a family affair.
They all flew down and they all helped me with it. We had a whole assembly line going on to get it prepared. I'm Bianca Belair. I do it big and I do it bold and I do it unapologetically every single year.
That's why we love you. All right, last question. You have the distinction of being undefeated at WrestleMania. What's your plan to maintain that record?
My plan is to rely on all my ESGs, to be the strongest, the fastest, the roughest, the toughest, the quickest, the greatest, the absolute best. And that's what I'm gonna be. I wanna walk out, I wanna be 5-0, I wanna be undefeated at WrestleMania. I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to make that happen and to show that Bianca Belair, she ain't nothing to play with.
Bianca, good luck on continuing to become undefeated. Is that all right?
I like that. That's how you do it. I'm having
right.
everybody in the audience going, undefeated, undefeated.
And of course, your pursuit to become Women's World Champion. Thank you so much for your time. So from Bianca Belair to one of the coolest spots once again for the second day in a row here at WrestleMania, it is the Cricket Zone. Now, the reason why I had to come back here is because, number one, I wanted to check out some of the fans who are posing like a superstar. I also wanted to check out the area where you can get a custom poster made, which leads me to my primary purpose. Rose, if you don't mind, I'm gonna grab my custom-made poster. Yes, as you can read, the poster says predictions, and that's why I'm here. Predictions on the main event tonight, where the undisputed WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, will defend against John Cena. But for those predictions, we have lovely analysts, we have panelists, we have experts and aficionados, but right now, we go to the people for their opinions. So young man, I'm gonna start with you. Tell us what your name is.
Chase.
And Chase, who is going to win in the main event tonight?
Cena.
Ooh, a history-making 17th world title for Cena. Wow, despite everything he said about you guys, you still love him. Wow, okay, next up, who's your prediction?
Cody Rhodes.
You're booing Cody Rhodes. He was so intense when he said it, too. What do you think?
Personally, I think John Cena.
John Cena? We're going back and forth here.
John Cena.
And last but not least?
Cody Rhodes.
Oh, man, this is like right down the middle. I don't know. John Cena, Cody Rhodes. We're going to find out tonight on WrestleMania Sunday. What do you guys think? Let's go Cena. Wow. All right, guys. Keep that energy up. Jackie, you guys take it away. You got a lot to discuss here.
Byron, thank you so much. Great job as always. Listen, one of my favorite reports that I get to do this weekend is the stats you need to know. I did it yesterday for night one, so we're going to do it again for WrestleMania night number 2. Let's start with this. Penta and both of our Intercontinental champions, Braun Breaker and Lyra Valkyria, all three making their WrestleMania debuts here tonight, so congratulations to them. And while we're on the topic of firsts, how about Dominic Mysterio? For the first time ever, Dominic Mysterio will compete for a singles championship on the main roster of WWE, but he'll have to defeat his ally, of course, in Finn Balor. And to be honest, his record at WrestleMania is not pretty. 0-3 for Dirty Dom at WrestleMania. He'll look to get into the win column tonight. And how about our triple threat? Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. I love this one. Io's never lost to Rhea. Rhea's never lost to Bianca, but Bianca's never lost at WrestleMania. So something's got to give here. All three superstars have competed in triple threat matches on the main roster of WWE, but only one of them can say they're undefeated, and that is the champion herself, Io Sky. Do not sleep. And here's the number for you, 378. That's how many days it's been since Damian Priest cashed in on Drew McIntyre mere moments after he won the World Heavyweight Championship and embarrassed the man in front of a stadium of thousands. Drew McIntyre looking for some revenge tonight. We'll see if he can get it. And last but certainly not least, we've talked about this all show long, but you can't do a need-to-know segment without mentioning this. And if you don't know this already, you must be new here. John Cena goes for his record-breaking 17th World Championship in WWE. If he is successful tonight against Cody Rhodes, this WrestleMania will officially be one for the books. All right, I hope you enjoyed the segment because I love putting it together. I love a good stat. I love a good record. All right, we're going to step aside here for a quick break on the countdown to WrestleMania, but on the other side, there is more to come as we get you set, and look who's here. Paul Triple H Levesque. We showed you part 1 of his exclusive sit-down interview with Peter Rosenberg yesterday. Coming up on the other side, we'll bring you part 2. You look all right in a turtleneck, hey, Rosenberg? It's not bad. Not a bad look for you.
Eat a Snickers. Yeet.
Hi, great Jay. One more, but no yeet.
Yeet.
No yeet, just the Snickers line.
Gotcha. Yeet.
Okay, Jay, there's no yeet in the script.
No yeet. Yeet.
No yeet.
Yeet.
No yeet.
Yeet.
No yeet.
No yeet. Yeet.
No yeet yeet.
Yeet.
Why do you keep saying yeet?
Eat a Snickers, those.
Snickers satisfies.
What's the news?
This is the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The biggest stars of the sports entertainment world are here tonight. The past, the present, and the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Michelle McCool.
This may be my story tonight, but it's your story too. You are enough, period. Thank y'all.
Quake, I miss you. And this one here, brother, this is for you. Please welcome the total package, Lex Luger.
I'm standing for this.
Damn!
My mom always would say, you think they're ever going to put you in that Hall of Fame? I go, I don't know, Mom, maybe someday. I hope God's giving you glimpses of now. We made it, Mom.
This moment means a lot to me. This match, I think, meant a lot to the business and a lot of the boys and girls sitting here today, and certainly to the fans. So please join me in giving the flowers and showing love to Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart.
You know, from the night that I had this match, that this might be the greatest match of all time.
You saw the match. You felt what me and Bret were doing. If it wasn't for Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin wouldn't be sitting here. Cheers, Bret. I love you.
Buddy, I love you.
Please welcome the newest member of the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame, Triple H.
Time to play the game!
It wasn't about me. It was about the people that got me here. Everybody is a product of the people around them. For me, it starts with my parents. If you believe in something, work until you have it. They taught me that. I would get the opportunity to build a developmental system. The younger talent that walked through the door, you guys inspired me. I promise you that I will do everything to take this business that we all love and keep it alive for the next generation who will keep it alive when I am gone. Think about what's important in your life and embrace it. For me, what was important was those three girls, Steph, Aurora, Murphy, and Vaughn. One word, forever. I want to thank all of you. You've taken a normal kid from New Hampshire's life and made it into a dream that he could never write. Because you made me who I am, and I will never forget it. So to everybody out there, I've got two words for you. I was thinking, thank you.
Oh man, what a weekend for Paul Triple H Levesque. Congratulations again to him. As I mentioned before, we're going to get to part 2 of his sit down with Peter Rosenberg momentarily, but welcome back to the countdown to WrestleMania Night 2 live from Las Vegas. It is a very warm 73 degrees Fahrenheit here outside Allegiant Stadium as the man of the weekend arrives. Our Chief Content Officer, Paul Triple H Levesque, is ready to play the game as he always is. Jackie Redmond alongside Peter Rosenberg and Big E. I mentioned it was warm. I knew it was warm out today, you guys, but I'm already sweating, and we just started our half of the show. So,
well, listen,
how are you holding up, E? Because you've been out here in the sun this whole time.
Yeah, and I always run warm, so I'm used to being
you do run
pouring
warm.
sweat. So that's just me, my life.
And I decided to do Velvet, and I'm surviving so far. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, that was a choice.
It was a choice.
By
It was a
you.
choice.
What was the worst choice, this or the turtleneck?
In that picture.
The turtleneck's a good look, man.
I like that turtleneck look.
Yeah.
I do like the turtleneck.
Can I tell you, I really popped for that. I've got 2 words for you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was subtle, but I really, really enjoyed that. Happy WrestleMania Sunday, guys.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I haven't had a chance to chat with you after everything that went down last night. We're going to look ahead, of course, to night 2 of WrestleMania, but anything you want to say, Rosenberg, about night number 1?
I mean, listen, the gauntlet has been set for John Cena and Cody Rhodes when it comes to delivering on a main event, because Big E and I did the post show last night with Joe Tess. and we all agreed it was a 5-star classic immediately.
Nah, that match was the goods, man. And even we talked about the entrances as well. Seeing Tiffany Stratton, the Barbie entrance. And that's what I love about WrestleMania, how grandiose it is, how iconic the entrances are. So I know night 2 has a lot to live up to, but I have very high hopes for this night.
Do you have a favorite entrance from night 1?
I love Living Color. It's hard to beat.
We both
That
said,
is the guitar solo off the top.
we both said
so
you
good.
got to go Living Color. You had to.
Yeah.
It can't be topped. And we'll see if anyone can top that tonight, but I think it might be pretty tough. We've mentioned this interview a couple of times already. A fantastic job by you, Peter Rosenberg, sitting down with Paul Triple H Levesque in one of the biggest weeks of his life. We showed you part 1 of that interview yesterday. Let's take you to part 2.
When the John Cena situation unfolded at Elimination Chamber, it was truly among the most shocking moments I've ever seen in this business. Were you able to process it and take it in as a fan, and what did it feel like to you when John Cena turned on Cody Rhodes?
It's a weird thing for me. I try to be in 2 places consciously at the same time because this business is a feel. So when we get to the end of the show, I have to tell everybody now as we're coming into that last minute of Elimination Chamber or something, okay, there's aftermath on this. Everybody lay out. I'm directing traffic. So when we get there, I'm trying to be a fan and just feel it. And as it comes in, then technically put it out to the truck of where we need to go and hopefully be just ahead of it. But the only way to really truly give people what they want is to put yourself in those seats and be a fan and really sit back and just try to approach it from a fan. And then you have to hear the criticisms, but know where it's going, right? And if you feel strongly about where it's going, right or wrong, then stay the course and hold tight. When everybody else is telling you, you know, it's like being on a ship and everybody else is going, turn the ship. And you're like, no, we're staying straight, right? Like, because you feel like you have information they don't. And then you might hit an iceberg, but that's the decision you make.
We are in a new era.
Yeah.
And now there's actually a new Netflix series
Yeah.
that's going to really go inside.
Well-
Where do you draw the line of...
Here's the thing. I think ruining it happens before. Telling me after doesn't ruin it. It tells me how it was made, right? Our business is set up where if you're a fan, there's no explanation needed. If you're not a fan, there's no explanation that will do, right? Like you can't explain it to somebody that's not a fan. They have to watch it and go like, I like that. Because if you explain it to them, it just doesn't sit.
If you could choose,
Yeah.
do you wish that we still lived in more of a behind the, curtain world?
When you see what we do on TV, all the mind-blowing stuff that you see, moments that just, holy shit, right? John Cena turning heel. There's something just as fascinating, if not more so, of how that happened, how it came to be. I think that people sometimes when they look at just the surface of what we do, they can think it's kind of silly or it's childish or it's less than or all these things. They don't realize the work. How many people, whether the crew, the staff, the people that are on the road, all these people that do all this incredible work to pour their blood, sweat, and tears, their heart, their soul into creating this to entertain you for a moment. For that moment where you pop off your couch and go, holy sh! John Cena just punched him in the balls. You know what I mean? Like, and lose your mind. Those are the moments we all do this for. So to me, I love the fact that we can go show all the things that go into it that you don't see any of it. That's just as fascinating as the product itself. So I love where we're at.
John Cena, Cody Rhodes. What does that match have to do to end up in the pantheon of great matches where it could be? Because on paper, it is special. What does this match have to do to sort of end up in that sort of class?
It has to emotionally deliver moments that you maybe thought you would never see. There will be moments within this match that will be created for the next 10 years, 15 years. People will be talking about, dude, I was there the night when this happened between Cody and Cena, right? there's a lot of real to everything that John is saying to Cody. And there's a lot of real of everything that Cody is saying to John of he was his hero, his role model. There are things I see Cody do every day that I think I don't want to say he's emulating or copying John, but he is doing this off lessons that he learned from John Cena. And now we're giving him a reason now to go up against the biggest name arguably there's been in the last 20 years in the business. And it's inconceivable that they don't create moments. But it might not be the one that you thought that's going to be the moment. There's going to be another moment somewhere else where you're like, holy shit, that's going to live forever.
Involved in that match in so many things has been The Rock. What does having him around do for WWE creatively and business-wise? And also, don't you ever get sick of hearing him just final boss, final boss, final boss?
He is, he's final boss. If this show is your responsibility and somebody says, hey, the biggest star in the world, probably one of the most recognizable people on the planet, the biggest star in Hollywood wants to come and do this stuff and be involved in this. That's a pretty good thing, right? It brings so many eyeballs. It brings so much attention. And there's a factor with him that is, he will say disruptive all the time. It's unpredictable. If Rock shows up, you don't know if he's just going to go out there and cut a promo that you're like, I don't know what he just said, but it's cool that he was here, but I'm confused now, right? But that's cool. Yeah. Or if he's going to get heavily involved and you're like, well, this just threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Or if he's like, you're unsure. That's a great place to be, right? Right now, it's just people want to be in the show and be a part of the show and be a part of this. It's a cultural movement. It's the John Cena moment of John Cena turning heel. I laughed and told the story the other day. My mother-in-law, Linda, called me. They had a State of the Union like that week. As she's walking out, the press is all shouting questions, and the one person shouts at her, Linda, just curious, as the Secretary of Education, what do you think about John Cena turning heel? Like that is the news moment, right? It was everywhere. It was top story on SportsCenter. It was top story, you know, Stephen A. was talking about it, right? Like Shannon Sharp, everybody in the world talking about it. It's a wonderful problem to have. So he can come and call himself final boss all day long. I love it.
All right. I want to see how that plays out over time. Thank you so much for making time.
Sure, man.
Happy WrestleMania.
Pleasure. Thank you.
An awesome interview from Peter Rosenberg with Paul Triple H Levesque. If you missed part one, by the way, you can catch that interview in its entirety. It's over an hour.
It is.
So good job by you. It is available on WWE's YouTube channel. So once again, I can't pump his tires enough, apparently.
No, but I just
did a great job.
Let me not just sit here and try to play it cool about getting to interview Triple H in that moment on this weekend. It's a bucket list thing for me. And yeah, if you watch the whole thing on YouTube, he went really deep on his career and Killer Kowalski and so much stuff for fans out there. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, so if you're a big WWE fan, and if you're watching this show, you should be, you can go check out the hour-long sit-down interview with Paul Triple H Levesque on WWE's YouTube channel. Speaking of things you should be doing, if you are in Las Vegas for WrestleMania or Monday Night Raw and you have not been to WWE World yet, get your life together.
What are you doing?
There is so much going on over there. Rosenberg and I were over there the other day in the Xfinity Bar. It was a good time. There's superstars walking around. There's a ton of merch. So much going on. My biggest regret of the weekend so far is not taking a photo over there.
Oh, you got to. Look, it's a lot of fun. I've been there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be there again tomorrow. But look, there's so many things going on. Fanatics Live, there's appearances. Stone Cold Steve Austin just showed up out of nowhere for Fanatics Live. Incredible.
Hell of a drop-in. Stone Cold Steve Austin just shows up unannounced. I'm sure fans were very calm about that. Speaking of which, check out Braun Breaker dressed like a character from Yellowstone as he gets ready to defend the Listen, I like the look. I do like the look.
It's a dope look.
He will defend the Intercontinental Championship tonight in a fatal four-way match against two of the people you see on your screen right now. The Judgment Day opting to arrive together. Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio both competing in that fatal four-way match. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage? Your guess is as good as mine. And how about Penta?
Yeah.
What a run he has been on to start his career in WWE. He makes his WrestleMania debut here tonight. So it is a huge match. There's Penta taking in the Goodyear blimp there. I believe this happened yesterday.
Oh, ride on the Goodyear blimp.
I've never ridden in a blimp before, a hot air balloon, none of that. I don't know if my nerves could take it, but look at the views.
Wow,
Cool.
that is really dope. 100 years of the Goodyear blimp and Penta getting it, take it in. I might have been scared, but I'm happy for Penta.
I mean, he's Penta. He doesn't seem like someone that rattles
I mean,
easily.
it's no fear.
That's kind of his thing.
That's his
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great point by you.
It's the whole thing.
Zero Miedo, yeah, that's right.
Well, let's talk about this Fatal 4-Way match, because not only is this the WrestleMania debut for Penta, it's also the WrestleMania debut for the Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker, who has to defend against not one, not two, but 3 different superstars. You look at this match, who has an advantage, if anyone, E?
It's hard to say. There's so many factors involved. Look, Penta is new to WrestleMania, but he is beloved by fans very quickly. But he's been doing this thing for a very long time. He's been wrestling since 2007. We have Finn Balor, who was the very first Universal Champion. He's been wrestling since 2001. And then we have these 2 young bucks. Young, hungry, virile. Virile? Yes, very virile. Wow. And Dominic Mysterio and Braun Breaker. But I don't think the moment will be too big for any of them. I got a chance at Fanatics Live to sit down with Penta, and I almost got emotional because this moment means so much to him. He has talked about wanting to be in WWE for his whole career, finally getting here with his brother, Rey Fenix, who had that incredible WrestleMania match last night. But he has been waiting for this for so long. He is so seasoned. So I'm really excited because you have the young bucks and you have these guys who've been doing this for a very long time. You have youth. You have the vets. I think there are a lot of really great combustible elements in this match.
Yeah, and we all remember Penta's debut, how emotional it was with his family. You could see how personal it was that he is here now. And also, this match to me is ripe to be one of those Intercontinental Championship matches that can steal a show. I mean, let's not forget, there's a long history going all the way back to Steamboat and Savage at WrestleMania 3 of the Intercontinental Championship match. When everybody's looking at the world title, that match stealing the show. Of course, the Razor-Shawn ladder match. We've seen it time and time again. So I'm excited for these guys.
Well, I think you have to ask this question when talking about this match. Can Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio work together to try and to ensure that one of them brings home a championship out of WrestleMania weekend? Or can they not trust each other? Because I don't think they can trust each other.
Listen, I can't say the Judgment Day has exactly been smooth sailing recently.
No.
I don't know if I feel like they're on the same page. And while we're talking Judgment Day, can I make a message? Where's my one shot?
Give him his single. Give him his single.
This is an important message. Carlito.
You don't have much pull. You didn't get your single.
No single for you.
Single! Thank you. Respectfully. Carlito.
You're looking at the wrong one, bro.
Oh,
that's why you don't get the single. That's why you don't get the single.
An unprofessional hack. Carlito, stay away, please, from Braun Breaker. Carlito, stay away. If he gets near this man, he ends up getting broken in half every single time. I beg you.
Okay, well, listen, I think that there's a lot of layers to this match when it comes to Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. You know, you look at the Judgment Day as a whole. Yes, Finn Balor did hold a tag team title during part of their reign as the Judgment Day. But aside from that, in terms of being a singles competitor in WWE, it's been a minute since we've seen Finn Balor hold a championship. I think Finn Balor's feeling the pressure to get him. This is somebody that walks and talks and carries himself like a top dog in this company, and rightfully so. He has the career to back it up. You think he just wants to be in the background of Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan in the Judgment Day? I say hell no, I don't think so. I think Finn Balor has every intention of doing whatever it takes to walk out of WrestleMania tonight with that Intercontinental Championship over his shoulder. All right, I am being told by our wonderful producer, Gavin, that there's some stuff going on at WWE World right now. Travis Scott is in the house at WWE World. Let's take a look at what's going on. I see main event.
Michael Rubin of Fanatics is there.
Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Champion.
He's there. Travis
Tyler
Scott
Breeze. Also,
naturally Tyler Breeze.
Of course he's there, as he should be.
As he should be.
Io Sky.
Look, they are breaking packs right now. We've been doing a lot of this stuff with Top.
All right. I'm going to help Travis with these rips at some point. It's Io Scott.
I heard there might be an exclusive Travis Scott card. I think they might be.
By the way, have you guys seen the new? He's wearing some right now. The exclusive Travis Scott merch that dropped this weekend. That's for sale inside Allegiant Stadium. Not just the Wrestling is Real one. There are a bunch of them that are fire.
Yeah, Travis is going to auction off 5 boxes of Topps Chrome WWE Cactus Jack. So these Topps trading cards are super limited. So limited, there's only 1,000 boxes available at WWE World, according to my research.
My favorite thing about Travis Scott is I've known him for a very long time from the music biz.
Name drop.
Big name drop. But since he was a kid when he was first coming up, everything he does is a complete wild card. Every time he's on a live mic, on a stage, you have no clue, including Tyler Breeze might just take over.
So good. So good. I do have one very important question. Do we think that World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso has slept post
Not a wink.
win?
Not a wink. There's no chance. I know that man was out partying.
You know him inside out.
We
So
saw
your
a glimpse
guess
of
is
that.
probably a
We
good
saw a
one.
glimpse of that on the presser.
I was
as
about
well.
to say,
I think my man was a little
started
tipsy.
before the presser.
A lot of libations.
Just
As they
a few
say.
libations,
Just a few
perhaps.
Libations.
Oh, look at Jay.
Jay's signing cards. That's going to be a hot autograph after this weekend.
I'm so damn happy for Jey Uso, man. This is so fun to watch. All of these moments. I hope he doesn't sleep. I hope he takes in every single moment possible. He, of course, partied last night at Live at Fountain Blue. Now he's over at World with Travis Scott. Happy for my guy.
Oh, so cool, so cool. He deserves to celebrate as long as he wants to. But we were just talking about WWE World. You talk about Stone Cold showing up out of nowhere, and then we got Travis Scott over at WWE World making fans days by getting Jey Uso and Tyler Breeze and all these people in the house with some cool collectibles. All right, Countdown to WrestleMania is brought to you in part by Papa John's. Order pizza and more for delivery tonight. Pizza is a great WrestleMania snack if you're watching from home.
It's the
Can't go wrong. We'll be right back with more Countdown after this.
This is my single now, right? This is okay. I got it.
An absolutely incredible scene. This is what World Wrestling Entertainment is all about.
WWE Clash in Paris, Sunday, August 31st. Tickets on sale Friday with pre-sale Wednesday.
Nobody defined best for business more than John Cena. John, I know you're watching. I know that you think that your successor had to look like you, had to talk like you, had to be like you, had to live like you. Well, the next one doesn't look like the last one, John, and you are convinced that you are the last of your kind. You are not.
I ain't many that are built like me. I'm the last of my kind. Grew up on the back road, baby. I know how to survive. Being out with the young guns blazing, so you better not try. You'll never find another like me. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind.
John, I'm the captain now.
Got folks that carry some shit, can't cross state lines. If you're coming to the sticks, then maybe bring a four-wheel drive. You'll never find another like me. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. Try to find another just like me. You'll be looking for a real long time. Sometimes you gotta fight. Go get it if you want it. Keep the fire burning inside. You'll never find another like me. 'Cause I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. Try to find another just like me. You'll be looking for a real long time. 'Cause I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind. I'm the last of my kind.
Maybe I was chosen.
Sometimes I'm still standing.
But you know who chose me? They chose me.
Can't wait much longer, baby. Yeah, it's my time. You won't ever find another like me. I'm the last of my kind.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I've got the looks, the drive to go wild. I've got the move.
We are now 96 minutes away from night 2 of WrestleMania live here in Las Vegas. We welcome you back to the Countdown to WrestleMania show. Jackie Redmond alongside Peter Rosenberg and a very fancy-looking Big E on the far end. The fans love Big E. We know this. No, you're not chopped liver. I just am giving that. Let me give the man some props.
You look good too.
Doesn't-
The Velve?
The Velve is a nice touch.
What is it, velvet? But it is.
It's yeah, it's velvet.
It's velvet,
It's
yeah.
velvet. Correct. All right, let's get back to tonight's card. Of course, headlined by Cody Rhodes defending his championship against John Cena, who's looking to make history and win his 17th World Championship here in WWE. That would put him at the top of the list in the record books. But we got a lot of other incredible matches happening tonight as we get competing chants here.
See, and this
is
why
anyone as polarizing as John Cena?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. This chant is why we got here in the first place. This specific chant that we're hearing right now is why John Cena has lost his mind.
I don't know if the crowd can hear me. I kind of want to ask them. If John Cena sucks, make noise.
Okay.
If you love John Cena, make noise.
I think it's the same people.
I saw so many of the same people make noise. Okay, they can't make up their
They're
mind.
just
They don't know.
feeding into it. All right. Well, that of course is the main event tonight, but we've also got another pretty compelling match between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I mentioned this earlier. It's been 378 days since Damian Priest cashed in on Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, mere moments after he won that World Heavyweight Championship. I think Drew's been embarrassed ever since. So he wants his revenge on Damian Priest. Take a look.
You screwed me this whole year to get advantage of every one of my moments. I have nothing now but making your life a living hell.
For the longest time, I was so focused on the individuals right in front of me. I didn't realize that somebody was benefiting every time I got screwed. WrestleMania 40, Drew McIntyre defeats Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. A moment absolutely perfect, until it wasn't. And Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, robbing me of my moment.
Sooner or later, they'll cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
But it doesn't end there, does it? Clash at the Castle, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, an Elimination Chamber. Avoid my attention. You've got it.
Tell them God's gonna cut them down.
This isn't about the World Championships. You took that from me. This is about putting you down for good, so you can never take anything from me again.
I have nothing now Drew McIntyre, the victim. No holes in your logic, right? You're a hypocrite. You make excuses, you bitch and complain, and you point your finger at everybody else other than yourself. You don't have to paint me as the villain of your story anymore. I am your villain. I want you to stop playing the victim and become my victim at WrestleMania. The time to pray is now, Drew.
All I asked for was for you to verbally explain to me how I'm wrong. Maybe face me like a man.
I'm a dreamer. Call me crazy.
No. You did what you always do. You hid in the shadows.
From underneath, I'll start a rise.
The shards of glass went in my eye, and I might never be the same.
I'm not afraid to play with fire.
This match is a year in the making.
You're not ready for this fight. At WrestleMania, I'm bringing the punishment, and I'm gonna bury you.
You're 100% screwed. I'm gonna give you the beating of a lifetime at WrestleMania.
I'm not afraid to play with fire.
Oh boy, Damian Priest has arrived here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. This time last year, he was walking out of WrestleMania, the new World Heavyweight Champion. This year, he's walking in to a Sin City street fight against what I think is Drew McIntyre polishing his duly won Slammy. E, you hosted the Slammy Awards. What did he win?
Look, very lovely, Kathy Kelly. He won Social Media Superstar of the Year, Match of the Year, and Feud of the Year.
I think he would trade it all for a win against Damian Priest in the street fight tonight, maybe. Right?
I think so.
Well, listen, you look at this match, it's obviously personal. Drew McIntyre blames a lot of people for some of the things that have happened to him the last couple of years, but high on that list is Damian Priest. What do you expect from this match tonight?
Well, first of all, let me just say, of all the people that Drew McIntyre has blamed things on over the last couple of years, I think we could all say Damian Priest, probably the most founded, right? He has every right to have a lot of animosity towards Damian Priest. I think with Drew...
Well, I mean, Damian was within his right to cash in.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, but you're not happy that it happened.
Of course.
But that's what makes a great rivalry. And Drew McIntyre, I think it's always the same thing. At his best, focused, he is as talented and as physically imposing a superstar as exists in that locker room. What happens when he gets inside his own head? And on the flip side for Damian Priest, guys, this is a guy who really, he enjoyed being World Heavyweight Champion. He enjoyed getting the red carpet at Yankee Stadium, being a boy from the Bronx. He enjoyed being a hero in Puerto Rico. He really knows in his heart he deserves to be at the top of the card.
Yeah.
And E, I feel like if you want to stay at the top of the card, you got to show up to WrestleMania and beat a big dog like Drew McIntyre.
Oh, you certainly do. Look, a lot is made of Cody leaving the company, reinventing himself, and becoming a much better version of himself. But we don't spend enough time talking about that with Drew as well. And again, I know it was involuntary. Drew was let go. But he took that time. He sat down and said, who do I want to be? What do I want out of my career? And man, he came back a different kind of monster. And I know Drew had, I think, one of the best years on the main roster last year. The Hell in a Cell match with Punk is a certified classic. And I think knowing Drew, he believed that at WrestleMania, he was deserving of being in the main event, of fighting for a world championship. And I think he feels in many ways like, you know, this match with Priest is a little beneath him. So that can go one of two ways. That can be,
Do you think he's valid in those feelings?
I think he's had one incredible year, and I think he is deserving of a world championship opportunity. Absolutely.
Okay.
But this is the beast in front of him right now, and that is Damian Priest. That is, like, so it is whether he overlooks Damian because he thinks he's above it, or whether he goes out of his way to show, I'm going to dominate Priest here tonight to prove that I am indeed worthy of that World
But he
Championship
is
match.
wrong, Jackie. He is fundamentally wrong if he thinks he's above Damian Priest. Let's not
right.
forget,
I agree
Priest
completely.
is the more recent champion.
Right.
And in sports and boxing and everything in MMA, your two recent champions, you end up high in the rankings of contenders. And these are two guys who need to fight it out to see who deserves to be right there.
And when it comes to a street fight at WrestleMania, what's it going to take to be the guy that comes out standing tall?
Whoever's willing to be the most crazy. I mean, isn't that what it takes, E? Like, who is willing to go to the furthest extent in that setting of a street fight to come out on top?
And we've seen that level of brutality out of Drew when he had the match with Punk. You saw him bleeding like a stuck pig. But I also think that Damian Priest is someone who I don't think anyone has done more to elevate themselves last year than Damian Priest, to be a main eventer and to prove that time and time again. And I think this is another great opportunity in this street fight to see the most violent version of Damian Priest.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're going to get. I can't wait. It is one of many intriguing matches on night 2 of WrestleMania here at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Elsewhere, we've got a bit of an issue in the women's tag division. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez slated to take on Lyra Valkyria, our women's intercontinental champion. She was supposed to team up with Bayley. Bayley got attacked by I don't know who. Adam Pearce told Lyra she had 24 hours to find a new partner. We don't know if she's found one yet, but let's head backstage and check in with Kathy Kelly.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with the women's tag team champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Guys, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding your title defense tonight as Bayley was taken out of the match.
We've had nothing to do with it. How many times do I have to say? We had absolutely nothing to do with it. It's so crazy that we get blamed for all the wrong things in the women's division when it's ironic because we are the best thing to happen in this women's division.
Well, I didn't accuse you of doing anything to Bayley. I was just wondering where you stood on Lyra having to find a new tag team partner.
Oh. Well, you know, honestly, I don't think it really matters who Lyra finds as a tag team partner.
Does she even have any other friends?
Don't know that she has any other friends. Don't know anyone that's brave enough or willing enough to step up against Raquel and I. And do you want to know why? It's because Raquel and I are the history-making, record-breaking, first ever 3-time women's tag team champions. You know what that makes us, Kathy? I know you know what it makes us. Say it. Do you want to say it or should I say it? You want me to say it?
I know you can say it.
That makes us the greatest women's tag team champions of all time. You dummy. Happy WrestleMania.
Thank you so much for that. Well, from the greatest women's tag team champions of all time, let's see if they can defend those titles successfully tonight, and we'll also see if Lyra can find herself a tag team partner.
All right, thank you so much, Kathy. The search continues for one Lyra Valkyria as she searches. She was willing to take him on 2-on-1, though, which I really admire from Lyra Valkyria. She said, forget it, Pierce. I'll just take him on myself. He said, no, find yourself a partner. So somewhere she is making a lot of calls trying to find a partner. And, you know, Liv and Raquel might not be guilty of doing anything to Bayley, but they're certainly excited to take advantage of the situation.
They also seem to find themselves in situations like this all the time. Isn't it weird?
It is a little
They're
strange.
always near bleepery. You know what I mean? For lack of a better word.
Well, not bleepery.
Yeah, when bleepery is happening, Liv and Raquel are nearby. Liv is so obnoxious these days, by the way. Not the dummy.
These days?
There was a time, you know. But
I mean, I love Liv.
And look,
but-
obviously, I want to spend some time focusing on the match that we do have in front of us. But I also want to give a lot of love to Bayley, who is really one of the most important people, men or women aside, that we've had in this company the last 10 years or so. She is so beloved in the locker room for many reasons. So I'm gutted for her, the fact that she is missing WrestleMania. She deserves this moment. She deserves this spot. So shout out to you. All the love in the world to you, Bayley. Hope you heal up. Hope you're back very, very soon to win world titles and do incredible things because you deserve. But you know what? There's a lot of speculation about who Lyra might be partnering with. And I think about a certain superstar that has been out for a little bit. We've been waiting on her to come back. She's supposedly in-house. We've seen her at Hall of Fame. We've seen her backstage. She is also a fellow countrywoman. I don't know who Lyra will have in her corner as her tag team partner, but I think if a certain Irish woman were to come out, I think people would be very, very excited.
Listen, there are a lot of options in that locker room. It's about where Lyra wants to go, who picks up the phone. But man, now we have more than one match today in which we don't know who the combatants are.
I love it.
Which is a lot of fun.
More chaos. That's all I want. More surprises, more chaos, more unknowns. It makes
Right.
everything so much more exciting.
But
I love it.
I'm glad you mentioned Bailey, and just another opportunity to shout out to Rey Mysterio and Kevin Owens. Nothing worse than when this time of year comes around and people aren't able, people who are so important to what we do here aren't able to perform. Got to show those guys love.
And I gotta say, Liv and Raquel were maybe fronting there, like, who's gonna team up with Lyra? No one wants to face up. I think there's quite a few women back there that would love to get
It's
in the ring
WrestleMania.
and get their hands on Liv and Raquel because it's WrestleMania, but also for other reasons. Maybe the way Liv and Raquel carry themselves backstage might be one of a few. So the search continues. If we hear anything about Lyra's tag team partner tonight, if she finds one, she may not find one, guys. Remember, that is also a possibility. She could end up going into this by herself, which she seems totally comfortable with, and that is because Lyra Valkyria is what I would describe as a badass.
That's fair. Certifiable badass.
If our first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion can find herself a partner before WrestleMania Night 2. All right, I'm hearing we have a special announcement from Byron Saxton. Let's check in with him. Byron?
Hey, thank you so much, Jackie. As you know, as everybody knows, we look forward to WrestleMania all year round, right? But it's not just about the action that takes place inside the ring. It's also about what happens in the community. Well, that's what brings us here. WWE has identified 4 nonprofit organizations from right here in Las Vegas for all the hard work they're doing to better the community. And that's why we've decided to award them Community Champions.
As the excitement unfolds in Las Vegas for WrestleMania, WWE honors those driving change in the heart of the community. Like the professionals who care for children with critical conditions by providing supportive services to improve their quality of life. The dedicated leaders supporting children and families through childhood cancer with programs that ease treatment and recovery. The mentors focused on protecting at-risk youth through initiatives that empower young people to reach their full potential. And the advocates working to end the stigma around mental health and offer vital resources to those who are struggling. These changemakers understand that a community's strength lies in its people. Join WWE in honoring Cure for the Kids, Candlelighters Childhood Cancer Foundation, Hope Means Nevada, and Nevada Youth Network as WWE's newest community champions.
So now that you know the why, let's meet the organizations who are doing incredible work right here in Las Vegas, starting with the Cure for the Kids Foundation. Next up, Candlelighters Childhood Cancer Foundation. Third, we have Hope for Nevada. And lastly, we have the Nevada Youth Network. Now, as you can see, all the organizations have been literally awarded community championship titles here. But it doesn't end there. Because what they don't know is that WWE wants to leave a lasting legacy long after WrestleMania has come and gone. So guys and girls, we've decided to award each of your organizations $25,000. Now, I know you're excited, but this is still WWE, right? And usually when you win a title, you hold it up so everyone can see. So hold your titles up. And in my best ring announcer voice, I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, your new community champion! Congratulations, guys.
Byron, thank you so much. One of the many great traditions at WrestleMania is what we just watched. Congratulations to all of our community heroes. All right.
Also, while we're at it, just because it's WrestleMania and I feel like giving flowers,
Sure.
It's so appropriate that Byron is the guy who does that segment because he is truly one of the true treasures of WWE. I just want to say that.
No, absolutely. Look,
I love that man.
And I've known Byron my entire career. 16 years ago, he was a wrestler. He does it all. He's a wrestler.
Everything.
He's a manager. He's a backstage interviewer.
Color
he's an
commentator.
announcer. Truly, like a guy who has done it all time and time again. Never complains. Always has a smile on his face. A lot of love to you.
We love you, Byron.
Saxton.
And of course, I forgot my cufflinks. Guess who had him in the bag?
Byron Saxton.
Byron Saxton.
Give us a Byron Saxton chant. He deserves it. The ultimate team player. We're going to step aside here for a quick break here on the Countdown to WrestleMania. But the show, of course, will continue on the other side. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, taking innovation to new heights for a century. So happy 100th to the Goodyear blimp. And of course, we've got the champ, Io Sky, taking in the sights of Las Vegas from the Goodyear blimp. She'll defend her championship tonight in a triple threat. We'll be right back.
WWE touches down in Tampa with a massive lineup of 4 can't-miss shows.
Saturday night main event battleground. Monday Night Raw. It's a new era on NXT.
All the action, all the energy, all coming to Tampa.
Yeah, we coming.
Individual event tickets on sale now. Scan the code to get your tickets today.
Punk now going back to Rollins for the go-to-sleep. Could have been a smart move there by Punk. Can he hit the GTS that he does to Rollins? Spear now by Reigns. Stop by Seth. Everybody is down. This is absolutely incredible.
What the hell's Paul Heyman doing?
Paul Heyman with a steel chair in hand. There are no disqualifications in a triple threat match.
What are you doing, Paul?
What the hell are you doing? Paul Heyman has made his choice. Paul Heyman has turned his back on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is defenseless. Oh no!
You made me do! Made my tribal team! Well, all of Roman Reigns' Christmases just came at once. I have no idea my tribal team.
And now Reigns unloading on Punk with a steel chair. Paul Heyman has returned to the original tribal chief. It had to be a ruse all along.
My tribal chief! My tribal chief! My tribal chief! Look! 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 Look!
And now, how apropos this would be.
It's yours, my tribal chief!
That night in Indianapolis.
After a decade, payback is finally coming to Roman Reigns. Oh my God! Paul Heyman, you son of a bitch! You piece of garbage! What the hell did we just witness?
Low blows his best friend in his tribal team.
Rewind a couple of weeks. Seth Rollins said, "You owe me the favor now."
This is absolute insanity.
The devil's work is afoot.
And now, again, to the back of Reigns. A stop by Seth. Rollins into the cover. Benedict Heyman, not once, but twice. An alliance we never thought we'd see. H, Paul Heyman.
WrestleMania is presented by Snickers. Snickers satisfies, and by WWE 2K25. The WrestleMania sale is here. WWE 2K25 is 20% off on all platforms today, bringing you the unique opportunity to rewrite Bloodline family history in 2K Showcase, plus intergender battles and more game-changing updates. All right, we are about 70 minutes away from night 2 of WrestleMania. Here is a live look inside Allegiant Stadium as we continue to count down to WrestleMania. Let's check in with Kathy Kelly.
I'm a little flustered. I just had to climb in the ring right now. Never gotten to do that before, but we are here in the middle of the ring in the stadium. The fans are all coming in. You know, one of the things that I love most about WrestleMania is the style. All of the superstars, they have new gear. They're so excited. They're not just dressed to the 9s, they are dressed to the 10s. So let's take a look. WrestleMania isn't just the grandest stage of them all, it's also the ultimate runway. From jaw-dropping entrances to championship-worthy couture, the superstars of WWE bring the fashion heat to the showcase of the immortals. Some arrive to annihilate and dominate, while some, clad in steel, set to terminate, which is why all eyes are on the undeniable fashion icons that dare to shine. Now, it's time to put the spotlight on the true stylish 7 who have turned WrestleMania into their personal runway. Starting us off at number 7, it's the man, the myth, the fashion idol, Becky Lynch. Now, Becky rocks everything from fiery red carpet-ready robes to straight-up comic book-inspired gear.
Nobody enters in style quite like Becky Lynch.
She makes every look legendary. Flying through the sky at number 6, Rey Mysterio has been swinging through WrestleMania for decades as the master of the 619.
The biggest little man in the history of WWE.
Superhero tributes, custom masks, looks that define the art of lucha libre. Rey Mysterio is a high-flying fashion statement. Who do we have at number 5? None other than the self-proclaimed tag team GOATs, The New Day. Unicorn horns, check. WrestleMania gear that makes the crowd lose their absolute minds? You already know.
Booty-o! They make sure you ain't booty.
The New Day doesn't just dress to impress, they decorate to celebrate. Number 4 is the Macho Man himself. Fringe, sequins, and colors as iconic as his elbow drop, Randy Savage was the blueprint for larger-than-life WrestleMania fashion. If it turned heads, chances are that Savage rocked it first. Stepping in at number 3, it's diamonds and championship gold. When you're the queen, you don't just have a flair for fashion, it is your legacy.
There can only be one queen.
Charlotte Flair has taken her father's iconic robes and reinvented them with a modern couture twist. Woo! Coming in at number 2, we have a drip god, the Swami of swag, Seth freaking Rollins. He treats WrestleMania like his personal Met Gala. Whether he's walking out drenched in designer-inspired suits or statement-making fits, he doesn't just steal the show, he is the Monday Night Maharishi. When it comes to WrestleMania fashion, there is only one superstar who truly blazes a trail of her own. Coming in at number 1, the EST of WWE is also the EST of style. Bianca Belair doesn't just wear jaw-dropping gear, she creates it herself. Whether Bianca's bouncing in as a challenger or a champion, Belair is the undisputed sovereign ruler of WrestleMania style. From legends to trendsetters, from high fashion to high impact, WWE superstars know that looking good is just as important as fighting good. Because at WrestleMania, if you're stepping into the ring, you better be stepping in with style.
You know, it's so true. It really is a fashion event as much as it is a wrestling event at WrestleMania. From the entrances, the costumes, everything that goes into the look and the way you are going to present yourself for your biggest match of the year, it all matters, right? Do you guys have personal, like, style faves in WWE?
Yeah, it's absolutely one of my favorite parts of WrestleMania, and there are many reasons I'm so sad that Rey Mysterio couldn't make WrestleMania, but Rey always comes with a fit.
Yo, that man
Always.
does not mess around when it comes to his wardrobe.
Let me tell you something. When Rey shows up to the Louis Vuitton store, people know they're getting their bonus that year. You know what I mean?
I don't want to know the dollars spent by Rey Mysterio in that store. I assume it's
But
up
shout out to
there.
my friends at Proper Cloth, by the way. They did a fantastic job here.
Yeah, I
Don't
also
sleep
gotta
on the
give some love-
Countdown show.
Not at all. I got to give some love to David Allen, who has suited a lot of us, including The Rock, and also to King Troy, who styles Seth, who styles
King
Becky,
Troy!
and also is responsible for these looks this WrestleMania week.
I gotta tell you, I'm not even exaggerating. When Troy comments on my Instagram and tells me I had a great fit, I know that I have understood the
something.
assignment. I'm like,
Yeah.
I did something today. I really accomplished something. So shout out to him, and shout out to Kathy Kelly. That was a really cool piece. All right, Logan Paul has arrived. He is taking on AJ Styles. You can hear what the fans think. Sounds like they're rooting for AJ Styles.
A warrior forged in honor's fire. With calloused hands and heart's desire, he traveled far through lands unknown to claim the throne that he had grown. His every step a sacred oath. To teach hard work is all you're worth. His soul is tempered by the fight. For truth and virtue guide his might. He pushes to prove that greatness must be earned. That honor lights the flame, which can't be burned. But here, a new challenger stands, born to fortune with golden hands. No battle scar, no humble start. Just riches fueling his hungry heart. Tradition's call, he casts aside, his soul adrift in selfish pride.
Logan Paul. I'm standing right here in the middle of the ring. We know what you want. You want that big money match with Logan Paul. So how about this, buddy? Why don't you set your sights a little higher?
Logan Paul and AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
And now they meet where eyes are set. The grandest stage where dreams are met. The crowd will roar, lights will blind. As these two collide, their fates entwined. One fights for honor, one for fame. Each with a vision, yet none the same. For in this clash the world will see which path in truth leads to victory. Beneath the sky, the setting sun, 1,000,000 hearts will beat as one. One will be left standing. The other shall fall. This is the tale of AJ Styles and Logan Paul.
All right, right, this all began when Logan Paul eliminated AJ Styles from the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble. And I watched that package and I think about what's gone on Monday Night Raw the last few weeks. And I really think that at the heart of this is a lack of respect for one of the greatest superstars we've had in WWE and AJ Styles. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, it's we're going to get into the Logan Paul of it all very, very soon. But I want to encourage every one of you to soak it all in. I'm telling you, when we talk about the GOAT discussion, AJ Styles doesn't get nearly enough love. And I know a bulk of his career was in TNA, but I got a chance to wrestle Y2AJ, the short-lived team of Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. And I'm telling you, I don't think I have been in the ring with anyone as good as AJ Styles. A lot of guys are close or as on par. I don't think you can get anyone who is better. This man is as smooth as they come. His contributions to this industry are truly incredible. It is special. This might be the very last WrestleMania match that you see from AJ Styles. I'm telling you, drink it all in because he's truly special. I know we're going to get it into Logan. He's incredible, but let's not forget about what AJ Styles has done in this ring.
I hope it's not the last time.
I hope it's not either.
I really do. But listen, when you get to that age, you're in your mid-40s, this is the time when you never know, right? It is harder. And AJ has been incredible, and I always say this. I never thought AJ Styles would set foot in a WWE ring. You know, now we live in a different era. TNA and WWE working together as one. There was a time when, like, the name AJ Styles you wouldn't say on television here. And when he showed up at that Royal Rumble, I was like, oh, this will be cool. He's going to try a little stint in WWE. He is now a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's done it all. Like you said, E, there's no one better, smoother in the ring. Great point. Let's appreciate AJ today.
But here's the thing, right? I think everything you guys have said waxing poetic about AJ Styles obviously is deserved, which is why the lack of respect from Logan Paul, even for Logan Paul, I think is a little surprising.
I mean, nothing surprises me about Logan Paul. What do you guys think about Logan Paul? This is not a guy who has exactly draped himself in courage. You know, the fact is he's an incredible in-ring talent. I've said this time and time again. That guy's not an influencer. That guy's not a reality star. That guy is a professional wrestler. He's incredible in the ring. But he's a low-down SOB. And I'm not surprised by anything that he says. And I think he thought that AJ would be a good target, a way to make his name at WrestleMania and get a signature win. Not so fast, young buck. Let's see what happens.
Right. And the match is going to be incredible. I promise you that.
They may steal it.
I know the match is going to be truly stellar. It pains so many of us. I feel like so many of us arrived to a very similar point with Logan in that we don't want to like him. We don't want to respect him in the ring. I just still don't care for him as a person at all. He's not a good human being. But when you watch him in the ring, how can you deny that he's got the goods?
You can't. That's the thing. I think Logan has proven to this point in terms of his performance and his compete and his athleticism. He's right where he belongs.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
He does things on a regular basis that I go, I've never seen that before.
Right.
And he's only been doing this. If we were to do the math, this is like his 14th match or something. The guy has done insane things so far. You cannot deny it.
He's kind of a natural. I think that's what annoys a lot of people.
Because
most people are not natural at anything that they become successful at. He seems to be a natural at garnering hate for himself in the world of WWE and, of course, putting on a hell of a performance. All right, we are officially 1 hour away from kicking off night 2 of WrestleMania here inside Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, and you can feel the energy rising. We'll be right back.
Finally, WrestleMania is coming back to New Orleans! WrestleMania 42, live from the Superdome.
Intense, high impact personified. The unpredictable badass, Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion.
Everyone thinks that they want to be in the title picture until they realize that I am the title picture. There isn't a man on this planet that can take my title.
Braun, my name is Finn Balor, and I shoe up little rookies like you for breakfast. I was the first ever Universal Champion, and soon to be again Intercontinental Champion.
Remember, this matchup was set up after Judgment Day's Dominic Mysterio. Talked to our general manager, Adam Pearce.
Thank you for getting me this match tonight. Thank you.
Whatever it takes to get the Judgment Day back on top. Here's the thing. I think I found the perfect person to add to the Judgment.
Who?
What if we add Penta to the Judgment Day?
100% electricity.
Penta's taking the WWE by storm.
What an experience it is with Penta in every arena around the globe.
Penta, the guy who just declared that he wants to come after my Continental Championship!
You know what? You're a snake.
I was wondering when these guys were going to be out here. The official distracted. Dirty Dom now getting involved. Dom inadvertently caused Finn to lose his balance. Spear! Breaker retained. Now Dirty Dom along with Carlito. They're into the ring attacking Breaker here. Wait a minute, it's Penta.
Penta declared he wants the Intercontinental Championship.
Listen, I know you're good, but you could be better. I'm going to offer you a spot in the Judgment Day. You could be Intercontinental Champion tonight.
Breaker, Penta for the title. Penta's got a lot on his mind tonight. Dominic Mysterio made an offer earlier on for Penta to join the Judgment Day. Oh, and Dominic now with a chop block to the back of the knee. That'll cause him disqualifications. Breaker fighting back now from behind. Balor with a steel chair.
Judgment Day wants an answer from Penta.
Oh, down goes Dom. Balor beside himself.
No new members of Judgment Day tonight.
The general manager, Adam Pearce, has now made this official. Braun Breaker will defend the Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor, Dirty Dom, and Penta at WrestleMania.
I will count my WrestleMania moment.
Finn Balor did not seem pleased that Dominic was added to the match.
We've all heard what people are saying about Dom. That you're not tough enough. That you don't have the killer instinct. That you're a loser.
If it's a fight that you're looking for, I will gladly kick all your asses.
Oh, what a night in Vegas. Allegiant Stadium just 55 minutes away from WrestleMania 41 Night 2. Countdown to WrestleMania is presented by Cricket. With fast and powerful nationwide 5G coverage, you can stress less and smile more. Well, you're going to be smiling a lot and laughing your ass off tonight if you go to the Fountain Blue as we welcome you back inside. Joe Tessitore alongside Sam Roberts and Tony Hinchcliffe, who's going to be hosting the Roast of WrestleMania tonight, 2 hours after we finish up. This thing could go completely off the rails, my man.
You know, things tend to do that with me. That's how I like it. I like it wild. Tonight we're doing a whole experimental, different type of roast show with huge wrestlers and surprises, a little bit of a Royal Rumble vibe. You don't know who's popping in. We've only announced a few of the people, and a lot of pops, a lot of surprises, shock and awe.
You know, Tony, I've known you for a very long time. And when I hear we get a mixed reaction for Tony Hinchcliffe.
Oh, yeah.
When people boo Tony Hinchcliffe, I go, you don't know Tony the way I know Tony. Tony is not a bad guy. But then, Joe, I'm talking to Tony right before we go on. And Tony Hinchcliffe told me that today at WrestleMania 41, for the first time, he is rooting for John Cena.
Yes.
The man who wants to ruin wrestling.
I have been a fan since I was a child of wrestling. I've always loved the bad guys. I love a good heel. Cena's always been too good for me, too much for the children. I love Dark John Cena. I love it. Let's break a wish here tonight.
Oh, my, no.
Make a wish to break a wish. All right. Hey, Tony, let's get back into tonight a little bit. People can watch the Roast of WrestleMania later tonight, about 2 hours after we finish things up here at Allegiant Stadium. I assume we're into full roast mode of rules of engagement, standard rules of engagement, just like we saw you at the Roast of Tom Brady or like we hear on Kill Tony. I mean, this thing you're gonna bring it tonight.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt. I'm starting it off right off the top with a big recap of the weekend, the Hall of Fame, everything. I have a lot to talk about. Luckily, they've given me a lot of content.
We do have surprises as to who will be there among the superstars. However, one of the guys announced, I think, could be an extremely easy target, and that's Paul Heyman.
Oh, my goodness.
Whoa.
I mean, what a night he had last night. That arm should go to Saudi Arabia. It's hit so many crown jewels.
Well, that's one way to phrase it. I will say about Paul Heyman.
That guy was playing baseball last night. 2 strikes, 4 balls. How did he do it?
I don't know. He's amazing. And the thing about Paul Heyman, Tony, is he is a master of the microphone. Does it intimidate you at all to know that Paul Heyman will be able to hit you back maybe as hard as you hit him?
I am going to be in awe of what he's doing. During that part, get to sit back and just be a fan. I'm going to have to stop myself from going like this when the great Paul Heyman gets up there. What
Again,
a star.
the roast of WrestleMania will come your way at 10 o'clock tonight. It's at the Blue Live Theater at the Fountain Blue, just down the street here. What advice do you give to some of the superstars? Listen, you've stepped into this turf a few times. You know what it's like to be ringside and the pressure and the pressure cooker that is ringside. Now they're on your turf, up on stage where you do best, and that's a roast. What advice will you be giving to some of the superstars who get up there for the roast?
Yeah, I'm telling them all to go for it. You know, let it rip. Don't be afraid of getting in trouble. Don't be afraid of getting fired. Don't be afraid of getting canceled. We have full permission to go for it. So, you know, people are going to be pushing it to the absolute limit. I know that for a fact tonight. Braun Strowman, The Miz, Heyman, and so many surprises.
You've seen the look on people's faces when they're in over their head. That happens on Kill Tony literally every single week. If you look at one of these superstars who you do in your tiny little heart have admiration for.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at someone and realize maybe they're in over their head, maybe they haven't done a roast before, will you go easy or do you go in for the kill?
We'll see. It's all in the moment. You know, you got to just feel it out. It depends on who it is. It takes a lot of courage to get up there, just like it does to do this. Every comedian wants to be a pro wrestler, and from what I've gathered from hanging with a lot of pro wrestlers, they all want to be comedians. So we're all trading spots here and there. I know I was on commentary just a couple weeks ago, and I was in way over my head.
You got some feedback on that
The
from the
WWE
audience.
Universe let me know. I can't tell whether I'm the greatest heel commentator of all time or the worst, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you're making the fashion statement tonight, by the way, as well, with the seersucker lined inside to the camo outside. Big vest. Tony, I'll be there tonight. Best of luck. Can't wait to laugh along with you, man.
You guys are the best.
Great luck
so
tonight.
much.
Tony Hinchcliffe,
Pleasure to be
Roast
here.
to WrestleMania, coming your way tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern. Coming up later right here, it's the Women's World Championship match. This title has been a tug of war lately, with the two big-name powerhouses seemingly dismissing and disrespected the woman who actually earns and holds the championship. This is the story of Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and the incredibly talented Io Sky.
My story's been a journey.
My story's been a journey.
My story's been a journey.
I've known heartbreak.
Ain't love grand?
And I've known triumph.
From world to stardom to the top of the world.
Broken barriers.
For the first time, 2 black women have a title match in the main event at WrestleMania.
Shock the world.
Rhea Ripley's the women's champion.
And I'm Brothers.
Io Sky, Miss Money in the Bank.
Been first.
You can't spell WrestleMania without EST.
Being last.
From #1 to winning the Royal Rumble.
Being the best.
One of the premier female competitors in the world.
Been made a fool.
Me and you, we're done.
Made mistakes.
See what Mania Bianca. Io Sky counter. Io Sky is the world champion.
But what I refuse to be is ignored.
Without a fear of falling.
I haven't come this far to turn back now.
I've been down too many times to add up, but you will never see me hit the ground and not get back up.
I've earned my opportunity.
Only thing I know to do is keep going.
And I'm taking mine.
I was wrong to assume that you three could handle this like professionals. Therefore, at WrestleMania, Io Sky, you will defend the Women's World Championship against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match.
I didn't get to where I am by betting on anyone else.
I won't get to where I want to be by standing in the shadows.
So I'm going to do what I've always done. Bet on myself.
In the end,
all roads lead to WrestleMania.
And I will prove that I am.
That I am.
That I am.
The real
Women's World
Champion.
Well, I'm now here on the stage, the WrestleMania stage, and as we saw last night at WrestleMania, in that triple threat match, anything can happen. That could be the same in this triple threat match. I know every single woman in it, from Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky, they all want to walk out with the gold tonight. But I sat down with Rhea Ripley earlier this week, and we spoke about how she feels like she is nothing without this title, how she has no one. Well, let's hear it from her. Rhea, thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time ahead of WrestleMania. I know the last several weeks have been chaos for you. This last year, in fact, has been a roller coaster, from relinquishing your Women's World Championship to then recapturing it at the Netflix premiere. How has this past year shaped the Rhea that we are seeing walking into WrestleMania 41?
It's really shaped me in a way where I'm going out there for myself. No one is going to have my back like I do. I have a lot of trust issues now, and I mean, I always had them before at the same time, but now it's at an all-time high. So the one person I know I can trust is me.
Losing your family in the Judgment Day and then walking into this triple threat match with two people that you considered friends, where do you feel like your trust is at?
A lot of people that I thought were very trustworthy people have then shown me that they are not. I felt like I could only count on pretty much two individuals that I have been in this business with since the day I started, Bianca Belair and Io Sky. They've really proved to me that trust shouldn't be given out to everyone. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, speaking of heartbreaking, on this road to WrestleMania 41, you lost the Women's World Championship to Io Sky. How much of that do you blame yourself for, and how much do you blame Bianca Belair for that loss?
I am the one that put my emotions in front of what the task was at hand. But at the same time, we've been talking about going into WrestleMania one day to face each other and just each other for so long. We've been taking over the women's division together, but when I felt like it was finally that time to then see her go back on everything that she's said, I understand that my actions weren't good and they probably weren't the smartest of actions, but seeing that, it's just another betrayal to just add to the list.
You've never defeated Io Sky in singles competition. Does that affect your psyche at all going into this match?
Yes and no. Io's always had my number every step of the way, whether it was the Mae Young Classic to NXT, now for my Women's World Championship. So going into WrestleMania, that's always gonna be on my mind, but I'm someone that likes to put this doubt into the fire that really sets me alight. And I'm going into WrestleMania knowing there's also a triple threat match where anything can really happen.
When you came into NXT, when you came to the Performance Center, blonde girl, naive, just excited to be part of the industry, you've grown so much.
The growth that I have gone through, not only as a human being, but within the WWE, I'm so glad and grateful that I decided to be me. And that's something that I try to portray to everyone else around me. I feel like everyone needs to be the genuine self, and that's how you really begin to love yourself.
Well, that's gotta
just add that much more of a layer to what's going on right now. Io Sky and Bianca Belair were there for you when you were finding yourself.
To come up with them in NXT and see how much they've grown and come into their own and grasped who they are as a person, like I'm proud of them. I am. I'm so extremely proud of them. But the only problem is now they're in my way. Now they're in my way, and I'm gonna have to go through them if I want to be able to get to the other side and then continue to grow for myself. When you're stepping into the ring with someone like Bianca Belair and someone like Io Sky, it's really hard to have a plan because they have everything covered. But I'm on top no matter what. Like I said earlier, it's a triple threat. Anything can happen.
What would a win at WrestleMania 41 against two former friends, two of the top competitors in the industry, walking out as Women's World Champion? What would that mean for Rhea Ripley?
It would mean the world. But sometimes the world comes with a cost. And unfortunately for me, that's friendship. But if I were to walk out your Women's World Champion at WrestleMania 41, I'll be ecstatic. It's never left me for dead. And that's the one thing that I want back. To feel whole again, I need my Women's World Championship back.
Well, Rhea Ripley, thank you so much for your time. I know that it might not feel like it right now, but you do have a lot of people rooting for you.
Thank you.
Really thoughtful interview between Kathy Kelly and Rhea Ripley. When you listen to what Rhea said there, Sam, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is that Rhea Ripley did not win the Royal Rumble. Rhea Ripley did not win the Elimination Chamber. And on the road to WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley lost the Women's Championship. I don't understand why she feels entitled to this match at WrestleMania.
Obviously, with what she's accomplished in her career, being a two-time champion, this being her 6th WrestleMania match of her career, what she did 1 year ago, you can understand the pedestal that she's on, but the recent body of work you pointed out, and she herself admitted with the opportunity she had and then distracted when Io took the title off her. She said, I put my emotions ahead of the task.
And guess what happens? You lose the title, and you lose it at the ultimately worst time that you could possibly lose the title. As a champion, it's your duty to make sure the title stays around your waist on the road to WrestleMania, and if you lose it, you suck it up. You don't act like a victim.
Right. Now, here's what I find so interesting. So you frame that with Rhea Ripley.
Right.
Then when it comes to Bianca Belair, she has all the torn emotions of what's going on with Jade and what's going on with Naomi. Even when we had the go-home episode of SmackDown to arrive at this, in the midst of it, she was the bridge to two entire stories that were boiling over. The only one who has entire singular focus and a clean vision for tonight without anxiety or all this extra stuff hanging on them is Io Sky.
Not only does Io Sky have that singular focus, she's got the championship, so she knows she's capable, and she's severely underestimated by her opponents.
And by the way, let's give everybody a sense of what's going up on the concourse here. Adam, turn around here if you could. And look at this crowd we have here. This is what's going on here as we're closing in. We got some great signs. This guy says, I wore jorts for seeing. You really are in jorts right now? You're in jorts right now? How about this? We got a great crowd up here at the 200 level at the concourse. They've been out in force since the doors opened. They are ready. And I'm telling you, when it comes to this championship match, there are a lot of Cena supporters out here. We've got more to come on Countdown to WrestleMania, including the exclusive sit-down with the champ. What's going through the mind of Cody Rhodes? All the pressure he is facing John Cena, it has arrived. That is straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.
From the top, Swanton for the United States Championship. Cover by Fatu, kick out by Knight at 2. What a matchup for the United States title.
2.99 after Jacob Fatu did the unthinkable with a beautiful maneuver, that swanton from the top that really should have put the megastar away, but the megastar just grows into the brightest of spotlights, and it gets no brighter than WrestleMania.
I don't know how the hell LA Knight still fight.
First singles championship match in WWE for Fatu. LA Knight with much more experience when it comes to that at this level.
Absolutely. Jacob Fatu just throwing heads at LA Knight as the crowd's coming alive here. Split crowd.
Captivated by Jacob Fatu and his insane abilities.
Top rope moonsault. Caught him with a BFT. LA Knight with a BFT on the attempted moonsault. And Jacob Fatu stays alive. Holy hell. LA Knight picked Fatu out of midair in a moonsault with a BFT. One of the biggest BFTs of his career.
From unbelievable to unfortunate in the space of 3 seconds, a perfectly executed BFT against a flying opponent just landed so badly for LA Knight.
Picked off. Jacob Fatu in the sky.
That may have been LA Knight's last hurrah, or was it? Knight still fighting back.
Fatu is hurting in a big way here, unsurprisingly after that BFT.
Kick, LA Knight ribs.
Ribs first on the top buckle.
And El Fatu right to the small of the back. The ribs again, wearing down the champion.
Who would think of hitting a senton in that position?
Oh, Jacob Fatu, obviously. Oh, and there's the Samoan drop from the top.
Every move so powerful and devastating.
Fatu, top rope moonsault connects. Fatu's not done yet.
Oh.
Jacob's gonna go up top again with another moonsault. Covered by Fatu. Jacob Fatu is the United States champion.
Here is your winner and new United States champion, the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
Here to celebrate the legendary Haku. As Jacob Fatu wins the first singles gold of his career in WWE.
First of many, we all assume. But you have to appreciate your first ever title, Jacob Fatu.
After 26 years, the Wolves are back. Step into Southtown for full throttle battles and a saga reborn. Pre-order Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves today. Early access begins April 21st. It's time to rev it up as we welcome you inside Allegiant Stadium. We've got the game
Ready?
right here. Are you ready?
I'm on pause it. Calm down. Calm your nerves. No, you gotta unpause it.
I
gotta unpause. How do I?
Who's got the master control? Come on.
Someone unpause
We
it.
need some help unpause.
Okay, well, here we go. We're in business.
Oh, there we go.
All right. I'm in red and white.
I am Terry.
My money's on E.
This is my first time messing around with this at all.
So are you just smashing a bunch of buttons?
I get essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm definitely not active.
I am not active either. I don't
No,
know what
one of
happened.
you is
We
active.
walked
All right, there you
a second
go.
ago.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
By the way, this game is super easy, as you can
Very
tell, because I am
easy, yep.
horrible at
And
video
I-
games,
and-
and you see the damage I'm inflicting on Big
This
E
isn't
right
working.
now.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, now you want to. Okay.
Yeah, there was an issue
So
before.
wait, hang on. a
Now
second.
we're good.
For the people at home, who is who? Who's in the denim?
I'm Terry. That's me in the blue jeans.
Okay, that's
Denim.
what I needed to know.
Yeah, I'm getting smoked right now. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Hands and feet on you, Big.
Yo, by the way, there are tons of cool characters in this game and more that are going to be unveiled. Don't ask me why I'm just sitting there. I'm catching a breather for a second, Jack.
Okay.
Give me a second. Hold on. I'm trying to catch my breath. Because then boom!
I don't like that. I don't love that.
You didn't expect that. You didn't expect that.
Nothing is happening right here.
Yo.
There we go.
E, listen, you're more of a veteran when it comes to video games than I am.
Both of you taking a time out
don't
here,
know what-
apparently.
We have some connection issues, but I can assure you.
By the way, I ran through rehearsal of this when I was
Yeah,
playing. I was kicking ass in this game.
Right. Okay, here we go. I'm back.
There you go.
I think I'm back.
See that? You see what happened right now?
He's back. He's making moves.
There we go.
There it is.
I'm going to save you further embarrassment here, Rosenberg, as you guys continue to play this game.
Let's run this back.
But I got to tell you, we are now, what are we? We're 33 minutes away from night 2 of WrestleMania, kicking off here inside Allegiant Stadium. I think Rosenberg has given up.
I want to play more Fatal Fury.
He's too good. Our main event tonight, though, will feature the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, taking on John Cena, a very different vibe John Cena than we've ever seen as he goes for his 17th record-breaking World Championship here in WWE. It is a colossal match for both of these WWE superstars. So Michael Cole had an exclusive interview with Cody Rhodes ahead of this match. Let's take a look.
Cody, thank you. It's been a busy week, as WrestleMania week always is, but thanks for taking the time to join us here today.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to this.
I don't want to be talking to anybody but you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to start by going back to last year's main event at WrestleMania in Philadelphia, when you finished the story.
The excitement over finishing the story quickly turned into, you're no longer the hunter, you're the hunted.
Yep.
But I remember Triple H telling me that everyone is going to be coming for you. He was right. From a business side, WWE has never been hotter, and that's a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
I am just the lucky one who gets to have this. It's been a hell of a year.
Cody, let's go back. You turned down The Rock's offer. The entire landscape of professional wrestling has changed forever. What was going through your mind when you turned your back and all of a sudden John went low?
I wasn't present at all. It was happening so quickly and moving so fast. You know, it's not the end. If anything, I knew this was the beginning of a road perhaps I didn't want to go down. Whatever John's story is, whatever's in here, he now has an opportunity to get it out at WrestleMania. But unfortunately, it's not going to be in a winning effort.
John recently described his relationship with the WWE fans as, quote, a toxic one. Is there any way you can sympathize with that?
I can't sympathize and I can't empathize because it is not their job to make us feel good. It is our job to make them feel good. I wish the crowd at WrestleMania 41 was chanting, "Let's go Cody, Cody sucks." I'd be all about that. I wish I could take that pain, whatever it is that's built up inside, and clearly it had built up for years, why he acted bulletproof. He wasn't bulletproof.
I want to talk about his quest to make history. 17 world titles. Do you now feel a responsibility to prevent John Cena from breaking Rick's record?
I wish that's what the match was related to, more than the fact that here is John saying, I'm leaving and I'm trying to take this with me. Now I'm the one who's been tasked with safeguarding it for all of WWE and WWE's future.
So an interview you did where you talked about wanting to walk in the footsteps of The Rock, Batista, John Cena. How do we know that you're not going to leave all of this for the riches and glory of Hollywood?
The riches and glories of Hollywood are no longer just in Hollywood. The riches and glories of this all are right here. I think John has struggled with the fact that WWE has moved on without him. John is the most unaware individual ever to stand in the ring with me and say, that's why I never left. You have left, John. You haven't been here. John's business is no longer being in WWE, it's being in Hollywood, it's kissing James Gunn's ass. So for him to tell me that was the moment I realized he's completely cracked.
He also called you an errand boy.
An errand boy. Hey, newsflash, I've been everything. I'm grateful for that failure, folly, every bit of it gets me to be able to have this conversation with you as champion. I believe John Cena owes us a true answer and a true apology. Perhaps the only way that comes about is beating it out of him at a WrestleMania.
Cody, John has said that privilege and luck are why you were at the top of the game today.
Well, privilege and luck, I certainly would just say no. I have been incredibly lucky to have been surrounded by the people like yourself who have helped me get to an undeniable level. I have been incredibly privileged to have been born with the Rhodes name. John Cena is incredibly lucky and incredibly privileged himself, and he's wrestling perhaps the hardest working man in the entire game, and that's how it should be.
I want to finish up on a personal note. I do want to say, though, how proud I am of you, and I, for one, hope that you continue this amazing reign as a champion.
I'm still a John Cena fan. I can't go out at WrestleMania 41 and be his fan. I have to be the one that beats him. I have to win.
Good luck in your 3rd straight main event. No, this will be the 4th, because you had 2 last year.
I don't know
So
how-
this will be the 4th straight main event at WrestleMania.
I like how that sounds. Thank you very, very much. Be the man.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you.
What a scene. Unbelievable scene to be here on the entry ramp. And a lot of people that reacted to the new set, this spectacular, magnificent set, said, can you believe these kinetic boards? And we heard a lot of chatter. Is that augmented reality? Is that CGI? No, it is not, folks. Look at them. They have been lowered down right above the crowd right now. This is some of the most unbelievable high-tech displays that WWE has ever put forth as the boards lower. They're showing you the Saturday card right now, and they will be in play in just moments to start off WrestleMania 41 Sunday night. Crowd is gathered, everybody's excited. We got the signs out in force. There's another thing that came away from yesterday that everybody was talking about, as a lot of the celebrities got, there's Kirk Herbstreit from ABC College Football right there. He's already in his seat. Looking good, I love the hat, my man. The other thing everybody was talking about were the new announce desks that debuted to start the year, and then this version of them a little more rounded. But for months and months, we said, man, these things are like steel reinforced. They're unbelievable. And then yesterday, in the climax of what we saw in the main event, Roman Reigns with Punk and with Seth annihilating these 2 desks. They do go down. You just have to have the force of the tribal chief and all the drama of a main event. So this place is ready and primed. Again, hey, they're the real deal, not augmented reality. And these desks over here, they're solid as a rock. But they went to hell last night. We'll see what happens tonight. We're ready ringside. Anticipation's building.
Joe Tess, thank you so much. It really does look so cool on the WrestleMania floor with everything in the background. Fans are piling into Allegiant Stadium. We're 25 minutes away.
And did you catch last night?
Feels
First of all,
big.
I did think for a second it was augmented reality, and we were pointing out last night watching the main event together, when Roman was coming out, they had the different pictures of the members of the bloodline, the Anoa'i family on the screens. It was awesome.
Pretty cool.
Really cool stuff. Now, recently, just the other day, myself, my good friend Big E, Jey Uso, and the great Killer Mike, the Grammy winner Killer Mike.
What a crew.
All sat down to do a couple of things we love to do. Hang out, have a beverage, play a little poker, talk a little hip hop, talk a little wrestling. It's called Ante Up. Check it out.
Hip hop and WWE. This is one of the biggest collabs that could possibly happen in all of entertainment. And the stage is set, WrestleMania 41, Las Vegas. I think it's time to ante up. What's going on, guys? My name is Peter Rosenberg, and this is Ante Up. I got my guy. Oh, it's main event Jey Uso.
Come on, those. Come on, those.
To my left, the 4-time Grammy winner, a pillar in the hip-hop world, my man Killer Mike.
One half the greatest rapper I'm going to, Run the Jewels.
That is a fact. Shouts to LP. Also, Big E.
My man.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to be here. And talking about hip-hop and wrestling, man, is something for the longest time, especially when we first started in WWE, I kept thinking, man, I hear so many rappers dropping references to wrestling, modern-day wrestling, old-school wrestling, and like, why aren't we doing more to bridge that gap? So it's so dope to get to this point now to sit down with a mic and talk about WrestleMania. So I'm as a hip hop fan, I'm jazzed right now.
Happy to be here.
Mike, Do you remember, because you have several big WWE references and classic wrestling references in your music.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first one or the most notable one that people mentioned?
The most notable one is Ric Flair, is the song Ric Flair. All that was inspired by Flair's in the 80s. In the 80s, man, when things were going wrong, Flair was like, nah, it's going right. We're getting rich. We're flying private.
So many people admired Ric Flair
Yeah.
because as much as they may have related to Dusty, Ric Flair was an aspirational character.
Yeah, and you didn't have one without the other, though. The greatest rival was he and Dust, because they represented, to me, Middle America and Southern America versus Wall Street. If we didn't have Dusty Rhodes to be that voice of working class America, then it's still sharp and steel. We wouldn't have had a sharper iron to the other side of Flair. So I want to thank those two guys.
Jay, let me ask you, man, growing up, who were some of the characters in hip-hop who you most gravitated towards?
Obviously, it was West Coast. You know what I'm saying? It was Snoop Dogg, Tupac. I mean, man, DJ Quick.
Bay Area, though, man. Y'all talking about 40 Water, man.
Yeah, man.
Y'all gave the world. Y'all gave the world Too Short. Y'all gave the world Mac Dre. Y'all, man.
Come on, Mac Dre.
R.I.P. Come on, man. The Coop. Like, y'all.
Hieroglyphics?
Yeah, Hyro. Shouts out to Hyro and Dale and Hyro, man.
There's just so many West Coast rappers. Me and my brothers grew up in Florida, Pensacola, Florida. So we was with the South for sure.
Y'all was in the driving. Oh, y'all.
T.I., you, Outkast, you know what I'm saying? Bone Crusher, who graduated in 2000. So that's when, to me, the South was hidden. So I loved it, man.
E, do you remember your favorite music or hip-hop collaborations with WWE? Because over the years, people popped up. Obviously, Uncle Snoop is a big part of everything here, but he's not the only one.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, like, I'm biased getting to have Wale record our track, and then at WrestleMania in Tampa, where I'm from, have Wale rap me out, be able to dap him up as I'm going out for my only singles match at WrestleMania in my career. And that's a special, special moment. And not just that, but like, he's done so much for the culture. I'm so glad we're starting to recognize that more and more, seeing what Wale Mania means to that WrestleMania week. So many people are like, all right, I gotta get my tickets to Wale Mania every single year. Like, shout out to him for doing everything he's done to try to bridge that gap between wrestling and hip hop.
Jay, did you ever intentionally borrow anything style-wise from any of the rappers?
He's wearing a Cuban.
Okay, by the way, it's built in. The necklace is hip-hop intrinsic.
When we wanted to switch from Uso Paint to Day One, we wanted something that hit hard and like had some banger to it. That's why me and my brother did get on the track and started screaming like Day One-ish.
Right, so that became their whole brand, was Day One-ish. And that alone was so hip-hop. If you're a real fan of hip-hop, you know ish. You know what ish is.
You already know.
Gotta ask, we're talking WrestleMania, we're talking hip-hop. Favorite hip-hop appearance or performance at a WrestleMania? There've been a lot.
There have been a lot. Let's take it back. We'll go Salt and Pepper.
Whoa!
Yeah, WrestleMania 11.
Yep.
Lawrence Taylor against Bam Bam Bigelow. But what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. That was such a dope moment. That's such a really, really cool moment. And as a kid, that one stuck with me, that resonated with me. So shout out to Salt and Pepper.
All right, guys, WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. What is it about this year you think?
Man, it's gonna be a massive one. Vegas, that setting, I think with all the players involved, The Rock on the board, I think we're gonna have so many big monumental matches. And also what I love too with WrestleMania is a spectacle of it all. We're gonna have big stars galore. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see WrestleMania in Las Vegas.
And for you, Mike, what could make this WrestleMania surpass last year?
If they give me a role. I just want to say to the big guys and officers up there, if you need me, I'm around.
Thank you guys so much.
Love and respect, fellas. Thank y'all.
Come on, man. I'm at cheers, man. Hold on, man. Y'all got cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, sir.
Big thank you to Killer Mike for hanging out with us. We got to do that again.
Absolutely, man. There's so many rappers who love what we do. You got to do more. I know you're friends with Lil Yachty. I know your Rolodex is long. We got to do more of these.
Yeah, man, it was a really cool experience. There's just always been so much crossover. To get to finally have that conversation on WWE television is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and look, a lot of people know Killer Mike from Run the Jewels, but shout out to Organized Noise, shout out Dungeon Family, rest in peace Rico Wade. You know, Killer Mike's been doing this thing long before he linked up with LP, but you know, I think so many of us in the locker room listen to hip hop, so many rappers love wrestling. I think that connective tissue is very, very strong.
Didn't see a whole lot of poker.
Not a lot of poker.
I would like to see in the sequel if we could get a hand.
Shout out to my brothers.
I just want to see what the poker faces are like.
It's fair. We didn't actually do a lot of poker. Shout out to Smoke Dizza and Westside Gun as well. There's so many people who support this thing, right?
I feel like you would have a bad poker face.
Terrible.
And I feel like you would have a great poker face.
Thank you.
And I feel like Jey Uso would have a bad poker face.
Oh, yeah, you can read everything on his face.
Yeah, like that man wears his emotions, I feel like. But a really great piece. I do hope it becomes a little bit more of a series because it was really cool. All right, here is a look inside Allegiant Stadium here in Las Vegas. We are now 18 minutes away from kicking off night 2 of WrestleMania. The WWE Universe continuing to file in. We got more countdown on the other side. Stick around.
I've been flying out of town for some peace of mind.
Welcome to the official Riyadh season opening ceremony 2024.
Live from Riyadh.
Crown Jewel.
And Jey now there again, that's that big dinosaur drop kick. Drops the #1 contender in his tracks. Gunther now, center of the ring. Hoisting Jey Uso up, powerbomb position. Jey able to counter. Jey counters. Jey's got Gunther into a powerbomb of his own.
Yet again, pulling out moves from the repertoire of the champ.
Studying film. Growing his game.
Jey just hit Gunther with a power bomb and a super kick, and suddenly Uso showing signs of life.
A power bomb to the ring general.
Roman Reigns told us on Pat McAfee's show Friday how proud he was of Jey Uso in this opportunity tonight. Spear! Speaking of Roman Reigns, a spear by Jey. Gunther's down. Jey's gonna climb high.
Go on, Jey!
Uso splash! Smart by Jey. One didn't get it done last time, so Jey is going to try to develop another one here. A second Uso splash.
Rolls through again, Cole. I think he's thinking 3 Uso splashes.
Well, Gunther looks like a beaten man already.
Jey Uso going for the trifecta in Vegas. Connects this time to the back of Gunther. Does Jey have a chance? Does Jey Uso have a chance for the upset of the year?
Is Jey Uso about to be world champion?
You're a betting man. You're putting all on Jey Uso.
And now Jey with a choke, with a sleeper on Gunther, turning Gunther's offense around him. Uso's got it locked in on Gunther. Gunther's fading. Gunther taps out. Jey Uso wins the damn title.
Here is your winner, and new World Heavyweight Champion, main event, Jey Uso.
You guys want to talk about poetic justice? Jey Uso turned the tables tonight on Gunther.
Jey Uso's world champion.
Jey Uso wins his first title. He rolled the dice on the strip and it paid off. Gunther tapped out. The late, great Dusty Rhodes once said that Jimmy and Jey Uso were going to be massive stars. And tonight, Jey Uso fulfilled that prophecy. From Tampa, Florida, to Las Vegas, Nevada, to the World Heavyweight Championship and the top of the world.
You did it, Jey!
And look who is in the ring. Brother Jimmy, tears in his eyes, emotion overflowing tonight. There is a reason it's day one-ish.
What an incredible night fight we had last night for night one of WrestleMania. We've got ourselves a new World Heavyweight Champion in Jey Uso. Congratulations to him, and a whole lot of questions coming out of night one. The question now, though, is what will happen on night two? We are just over 13 minutes away from night two of WrestleMania here in Las Vegas, and so much to talk about. It is an incredible card. The first match of the evening will be our triple threat. Io Sky defends her championship against two very well-decorated WWE superstars in Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. What are you expecting out of this one?
Look, what an incredible way to start the night. Punk himself, who was in the main event last night, said if it was up to me, this would be the main event. And I think these three competitors are worthy of being the main event. I expect the world of this match. I have no idea. It feels like I'm giving everyone 33.3% chance to win this thing because I have no idea. It really feels like a toss-up. And you know what? I'm so intrigued to see. We've seen so many, or heard so many boos towards Bianca Belair that kind of came out of nowhere. And I first wondered, is that just something that was happening in Europe? But that has come over to the States as well. And I wonder if that has rattled Bianca at all. I wonder how she feels about that. I wonder if that's changed her approach to this match here tonight.
I did ask her this earlier today, and she said, you know what? The higher you climb, the noisier it gets. And she goes, fans have every right to boo or cheer for whoever they want. She goes, it's not going to affect me. I've learned to block out the noise through many things, both professionally and personally, over the course of her career.
It's a really fascinating match. And here's the thing that I'm looking for the most, right? Io somehow continually gets slept on here.
Not by me.
Not by you, and you made that clear. But to be clear, I don't think it's out of disrespect. It is out of the fact that in Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, we have two talents who we know are going to be at the top of this business for the next decade. Io Sky is absolutely in a position to be in that group. I think tonight is the night for her to prove to everyone I need to be in that conversation as well.
It is certainly a legacy moment for Io Sky, I think. This is a night that I think when we look back on the career of Io Sky, certainly if she is successful, this will be one of those pivotal moments for her if she can defend against the likes of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair in a triple threat situation on the biggest stage of them all.
And let me admit, by the way,
that's a huge statement win for her.
And I have to admit, let me just own this. Not enough people do this on TV. I was on TV with Big E after Elimination Chamber. I'm one of the people who assumed the match was Rhea and Bianca. I ran with it. I was sure that's what it was. I'm one of the naysayers. I need to be shut down. So I'm excited to see Io Sky deliver tonight.
And I already said this stat earlier, but I think it bears repeating. She's never lost to Rhea Ripley, and she's 3-0 in triple threat matches on the main roster. So this is a match type that I think Io Sky is very comfortable in. We'll see if she can retain that championship here as we watch Pat McAfee fly down the ramp.
Long ramp, Pat. Pace yourself, brother.
WrestleMania night number 2. He is hyped up, as he should be. You know, we talk about this being maybe a legacy night for Io Sky. Randy Orton's legacy is already got a lot of chapters, I would say. But there's a big question mark with Randy Orton in terms of what we will see from him tonight.
Yeah, I was really excited for KO against Randy. And unfortunately, Kevin, we love you. Wishing the best for you. Suffered a neck injury that he has to deal with right now. But there's a big open door. You know, I feel like if I had to pick between, you know, there's a mystery opponent in this match and also in the women's tag match, I feel a little bit more confident in the women's tag match. With this one, I have no idea. There are so many free agents who are potentially rumored to be here. Is it someone on the roster already? Is it someone coming in? I truly have no idea who Randy is going to face, but he's Randy Orton. And it really doesn't matter who he's in the ring with. The match is going to be incredible. But I also love that we're recognizing 20 WrestleManias is incredible.
It's insane. And you said this earlier about AJ, and I think we need to say the same about Randy. You just never know when the last one can come, right? Like, this is a guy who's given for a very, very long time. Now, he happens to be in the best shape of his life, and he looks amazing. But we saw with Kevin Owens, guys, this is a very dangerous business. Kids do not try this at home. There's a reason that message exists. This is a very, very dangerous thing to do. Randy Orton, every time he gets in the ring for WrestleMania, to me, it's a blessing. He's one of the all-time legends. The once legend killer is now the legend himself.
Well, that's the thing about
So
it, right?
cool,
Like, it is a WrestleMania challenge. Like, if you're going to take a swing at someone who is known as a legend killer, like, don't let this man kill your legend before it even begins, potentially.
Right, but at WrestleMania, you don't sign up for an easy test, an easy challenge. You want the very best. And I know whoever ends up in the ring with Randy is going to be blessed because, again, in the GOAT discussion, we don't talk about Randy enough either.
Well, listen, when you bring up the word GOAT, I got to turn our attention to tonight's main event. And John Cena, who is looking to make history and win his record-breaking 17th World Championship here in WWE. This is obviously a different John Cena than we are accustomed to over the course of his very long career here in WWE. And he'll have to defeat the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes in order to do it. What do you make of this match from both sides of the equation here?
Well, this is such a fascinating thing. I mean, last night was unbelievable from like an in-ring standpoint, plus the story of it all was amazing. Tonight, I'm just so curious about what the spectacle is going to be like. There's so many things I'm thinking about. Is it going to feel like WrestleMania 18, Hogan and The Rock, where the crowd is changing sides back and forth? Is it going to be a night of Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks? What are we going to get in that regard?
Oh, we're getting that for sure.
But also, I can't help but notice that John Cena has not mentioned The Rock a lot in the lead up to WrestleMania. Does that mean we're not going to see I always assume from the beginning we're seeing The Rock tonight, but where has The Rock been?
I don't know, but he's going to be here at WrestleMania. I would be absolutely stunned if he's not here at WrestleMania, so I expect him to be involved. I have no idea where Travis Scott stands in this whole thing. Cody has a lot up against him. And, you know, it's so interesting, too, because the last time we saw Cody in the ring with Cena, he got booed. But seeing how quickly he got the crowd, this man is truly a master, and he's ready. I know when he was Stardust, when he was kind of struggling to figure out himself, he was already incredible in the ring. And I don't think he gives himself enough credit for being there. But now he is fully ready for this moment. I think he is ready for all the ups and downs. I think he is ready for the challenges that this week brings, all of the media, all the press. I know it's a lot on him, but he's ready for it. And I think tonight he'll be ready for everything that comes at him as well. Look, the challenge, I think, is going to be as steep as it ever will be here tonight. I don't know how Cody gets it done, but if anyone can against John Cena, The Rock, and Travis Scott, it is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you just look at what Cody Rhodes had to go through last year on back-to-back nights of WrestleMania and what he was able to accomplish with a little help, of course. But I think that hardens you, right? That strengthens you. That prepares you for these types of situations. I'll tell you what, though. Cody Rhodes already has quite an amazing legacy that he is writing. If he can defeat John Cena and keep Cena from winning his record-breaking 17th World Championship, whew, that would be a massive, massive moment. That is tonight's main event. We are so close to kicking off WrestleMania Night 2 for Big E and Peter Rosenberg. I am Jackie Redmond. We are in Sin City, but this weekend, it is a city of dreamers.
The Neon Pulse. The dazzling avenue, the glittering hub and heart of a city. But the Las Vegas Strip is not in Las Vegas, technically. It actually lies in an unincorporated Nevada town called Paradise. It's the place that drew me and so many more like me to the middle of the Mojave Desert. Surrounded by that darkness, the brilliant lights of the Strip are visible all the way into outer space, lighting the way for more than 40 million people that come here each year, each carrying their own dream.
Oh my God, it's Wayne Newton.
Because Vegas is always called out to the dreamers.
Hey, there you are. We're going to Vegas, Mike. Vegas! You think we get there by midnight? Money, we're gonna be up 500 by midnight.
It's a city that beckons to the bold.
All right, we'll get one more.
And that calls out to believers of what's possible.
We're gonna love this town.
That's what Vegas does and what it's always done. It requires you to have more nerve than the next guy. To accept that risk is part of living. It's why Vegas is the city of Sinatra, Elvis, and Tyson, of one-hour engagements and all-night runs.
Down court is Johnson. Showtime.
It's where the Running Rebels and the Raiders are.
Taking away his energy and everybody.
It's home to my UFC, to the biggest fights, the largest names, and the greatest stories.
I've been dying my whole life now. Look at me now. Look at me now.
And it's why it feels so right as a setting for this. For the greatest spectacle in sports entertainment to return to the grandest stage on the globe. because this cultural phenomenon, this annual wonder, is also a vision made real. How it's evolved over time from a 2-hour program to a 2-night experience. How it's grown from an arena show to a stadium marvel.
Welcome to WrestleMania 9!
And for the first time in more than 3 decades, it all comes back here. An event where all who come down that ramp and who enter that ring carry their own dreams to make their vision real and their hope true. Where else but Las Vegas? Where else but a place called Paradise? Where else but f***ing WrestleMania?
Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform the national anthem with over 50 billion streams worldwide, please welcome multi-platinum global sensation, Ava Max!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we'd watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the of the brave.
When you have people as good as Cody, as good as Cena, how does it ever get any bigger than that?
From the entertainment capital of the world,
I've been focused on the future, never on right now.
Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Sit on your ass and watch me be great.
WrestleMania from Las Vegas. At WrestleMania from the entertainment capital.